Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
I love sports.
Sports.
When it comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
I need to talk a little sports with you, Ags. David Nuño here with TexAgs Radio. Billy Lucci here on TexAgs Radio. Olin Buchanan.
We will develop men. We will graduate players. And we will win championships on the field.
The best way for us to win is to do it together.
Been in college baseball for a while now, but I've never experienced anything like 12th man.
The other schools are like, we're freaking Texas A&M, man. Like,
this one's special. The 12th man this past week was unbelievable.
The epitome of what this team has done, right? Gavin homers, Jace homers, Braden homers, Chris Cortez, 100-mile-an-hour fastball.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
All right, people are betting on the Aggies. Let's talk about that. Olin Buchanan, David Nuño here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. OB looking mighty fine in that shirt. That's not the word I wanted to use, but you look good, buddy.
Well, thank you. You know, I'm excited to wear this shirt. I was given it to for Father's Day last year, and I was too fat to wear it because, you know, the material was too stretched out between the buttons. You know,
you have body dysmorphia. You're not fat.
Well, anyway, but I was able to. You know, it's presentable today.
You look good.
I've been eating sunflower seeds for lunch for a week, and
that's
doing
not healthy.
Doing a lot of exercising, and starting to see some progress. So
progress.
So I was excited to be able to get in the shirt.
So you think by starving you're going to reach your goals?
No, because I'm not starving.
Okay.
I'm just, you know, the sunflower seeds keep me nice and healthy. I have a good breakfast, eat sunflower seeds for lunch, and
have whatever you get for dinner.
Yeah.
All right.
And then doing a lot of exercise in between.
Good for you, buddy. So A&M, I think is, I don't want to say I think, we are expected to see them go to Omaha. The expectation is there, right? I'm not saying that Coach Schloss is expecting. Coach Schloss knows what's ahead of him, right? He's got a very difficult, but I'm saying experts out there, or so-called experts, gamblers, okay? So if I were to ask you, of the SEC teams, if only one could make it to Omaha, who would it be? This is not how the column was written, but I basically.
Remind me of the matchups.
Well, I'll go through that in a second. Okay. But our buddy Connor O'Gara, Saturday Down South, wrote an article saying who's got the best chance to get to Omaha.
Is he in Tennessee?
Tennessee's number 2 on his list.
Huh. Is A&M number 1?
A&M is number 1 on the list.
Okay, I could see that.
And I'm not going to read the whole thing. I would like for you to go support our buddy there. But he basically says that too many times we have seen Tennessee fail at this level.
It's true.
Okay? And so that's the only thing he's holding back. They both have only lost 3 games at home, because Tennessee only lost 3 games at home. So they're both excellent at home. But if he were to try to find something that differentiates the two, the difference is Tennessee has failed in recent years to make it to Omaha.
Okay, that's fair. I fully expect to see half the College World Series field be SEC teams.
18 so far.
At least.
Yep.
I'm not sold on Florida, but Georgia, A&M, Tennessee, Kentucky, and I can't even remember the matchups right now.
So I'll give you the matchups, right?
Okay.
Evansville taking on Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm taking Tennessee.
Okay. UConn, and more on UConn in a moment, folks, versus Florida State.
Okay.
Florida State at one point was the top 5 team in the country. Kansas State, Virginia.
Okay.
West Virginia, North Carolina.
Interesting.
Okay.
At least nobody has to travel too far.
Oregon State, Kentucky.
Okay.
Great matchup.
That's a great matchup.
That's a really good matchup. NC State and Georgia.
Georgia.
All day, every day. Florida, Clemson.
I don't know enough about Clemson, but I know how erratic Florida has been.
Clemson's the number 6 team in the country. Florida, not ranked. Oregon at number 3, Texas A&M.
Hullabaloo, Kinnick.
I like Kaneliki. You ever had Kaneliki?
No.
Okay, we'll talk about that some other time.
I've always said that I've told you this before, the biggest marketing failure Is the Hullabaloo Diner not serving a breakfast with 2 Jewish pastries and call it the Hullabaloo Knish Knish?
You have said that to me before. Yeah. This is true.
This is too good of an opportunity.
So a couple things on this thing. So what's the difference? Unlike Tennessee, A&M doesn't have those constant reminders of due number 1 overall seed. That should benefit a potent Aggies lineup, which bounced back nicely from the SEC tournament with a regional sweep. Timely hitting and quality starting pitching are the name of the game at this point. The Aggies have the right DNA to get back to Omaha for the second time in 3 years under Jim Schlossnagle.
Yeah, I expect it to happen. Don't take anything for granted, but I'm more I don't know if confidence is the right word. I'm more bullish on A&M because of the pitching right now. They don't have to go out and score 10 runs to win.
But I know it's coming. I feel it. I feel it in my bones.
Well, it may be.
There's going to be a game where, there they are. And we've already seen a game but I'm saying, Braden goes yard. Jace goes yard. It's Oprah just giving out home runs.
That's fine. And if you win 10-1, I'm all for it, right?
And if you win 10-9, you're for it.
I just don't say I'm going to see 10-9.
Yeah.
Because I think, the pitching has gotten to be to that level.
I'd like a third starter to feel comfortable
That's
about.
True.
I'd like that. But they've navigated all season long with other people stepping up as the number 2, right? So it can certainly happen.
And I will say this. I feel very confident all year with Prager on the mound. And I've become extremely confident with Cedillo on the mound. And I think they've got a good enough bullpen that whoever else, they can do the way I think it was LSU one game they won because somebody's pitching 2 innings and somebody else 2 and all the way through. I think they've got a talented enough bullpen where they can pull that off.
So the other thing I wanted to bring up was the amount of viewers for the A&M Texas game. Did you see ESPN?
I saw it
690,000.
700,000. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't number 1, and I think part of the reason was late game. Also, it was late. It was late extra inning games, and number 1 though was North Carolina LSU, the game 7
on a Monday.
Yeah.
What else was going on when Texas and Texas A&M was playing? I wonder if there was anything else going on that was drawing people away from college baseball in general.
Number 2 was also LSU versus North Carolina, the game 4 of that one. So those were the 2 most watched games of the regionals. But A&M, 690,000 viewers there for that game against Texas.
And it would have started at 9 o'clock on the East Coast where most of the population is.
Correct. Yeah. So fantastic numbers. We expected. I mean, every broadcaster we've spoken with, Roy Philpott was on the call for that game. He's going to be on the show later on today. I actually interviewed him earlier, and he thought it would be number 1 on the list.
It was great suspense.
It was. Do you want to get a little more excited about Aggie baseball?
If that's possible, yeah.
Have you seen the video, the promo they made?
I did.
Okay, well, can we watch it together as a family?
Yeah, sure.
Let's watch it like mom and dad. All right, here we go. Or son and dad. Let's go.
Which am I in this scenario?
You're definitely the granddad.
Okay.
I guess there's no audio for this one.
Well, that's kind of
anticlimactic. I guess I don't know if we're allowed to.
Well,
I don't know.
It's not a criticism. I'm just curious why Delta Dawn was the music to go.
I don't know, but it felt good.
Okay.
I felt it. Felt it in my bones. They look good. The song without the song, it doesn't have the same oomph, but it is what it is.
So the song was Delta Dawn by, if you haven't seen it, and if you're listening on radio, it's the highlights from some of the greatest moments from the last weekend,
including some from Texas.
Yeah.
You name it, Louisiana.
And with the music of Tanya Tucker's Delta Dawn behind it, which, again, not a criticism. I'm just interesting that's the song you picked.
Oh, we're not allowed to play because of the YouTube. We're not allowed to play the song. So that's the only reason behind it. All right. Good stuff. Thank you very much for playing that.
What do you think's the bumper music when we're coming back?
It Ain't My Fault by Silk the Shocker.
Yeah, or Delta Dawn.
Or maybe Delta Dawn. All right, let's go around the room and say hello to the people. If you want to be a part of the conversation this morning, you can do that multiple ways. The phone number is 979-693-1150. You can call us. We'll be able to hear you. You can text us as well, 979-693-1150. We go behind the glass and we say hi to Cade Bickham, who has not been on the air in a while because he was playing in the What do we call it, Kate? Is it the College World Series of club baseball?
Yeah, the Club Baseball World Series. Yeah, I guess would be the technical term. Yeah.
And you are what position for the Aggie baseball team?
I'm a pitcher, pitcher only. It's a great job. I don't have to do that much. I just throw, and I don't know, I like throwing, so it works out well.
So who's that throwing behind
That's
you?
Nick Savage.
Yeah.
He's a relief pitcher, Nick.
Yeah,
So has Schloss ever
He's a
approached
bullpen
you?
pitcher.
Well, there's a lot of bull with Nick. Has Schloss ever approached you, say, hey, you know what, we need a little help in the bullpen here?
No, you see, he hasn't, and I've been waiting for that opportunity because, I can throw strikes, and so if he just needs somebody to, go dot the outside corner, maybe, 2 batters, just like what Nick is doing back there, yeah.
I hope you're better than that.
It looks a little bit nicer than that. It looks a little bit cleaner.
Nick's form's not bad.
His form isn't bad, though.
He doesn't have balance.
I don't think he can field his position.
The follow through was
the balance is terrible.
It's probably better, though. He looks better than Broniger did. I don't remember the day when we were trying to.
Yeah, the day that Billy almost ended him.
He got beaned, but not in that head.
Okay, hey now. Kate, I had something for you, but I don't know. How fast do you throw?
Oh, not that fast at all. I throw like 75. It's real slow, but I throw like 4 pitches and I throw them for strikes.
You're like Greg Maddox.
See, I've got this picture of Schloss listening to the show, and he was picking up the phone to call and say, "How do I get?" And he said 75, and he just hung up the phone.
He goes, "Lucci throws 75. I'm good."
Yeah,
hang up.
Lucci does. Ask Broniger.
Anything else you want to get into this morning, Kate?
Well, I was just gonna say. Quick little shout out to the track team because they started yesterday, and the few men's team guys made it to the finals. So yeah,
that was a great report.
Yeah,
really good report. Thank you for the
little Sam Whitmarsh in the finals.
There we go. We go.
Did you see Nick Savage just go running in the background there with the high knees?
So okay, can he hear us? Because then let's have him do other stuff.
He's
Put the camera back in there.
He's getting married like this week, right?
Nick, weekend. MMA. I want to see MMA Nick. For those on the zone, I apologize.
He's excited about getting married, I guess.
We don't get to see the happy Nick as often. I like this Nick.
Yeah.
This Nick is good. Why don't you come do the gritty behind us, Nick? Or do the gritty there.
They want you to do the gritty. Gritty. Yeah.
All right, this segment failed.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
There he goes.
He did it. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Riley Tunnicliffe. I know you know this. Riley, do you know who Wally Pipp is?
I don't.
Do you know who Drew Bledsoe is?
Basketball player.
Okay, this is not going well.
No. Am I thinking of Eric Bledsoe? That's Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah. Obi, tell him why Drew Bledsoe might be a good comparison.
Okay, Drew Bledsoe was the quarterback of the Patriots that got hurt, and when he was taken out, he was replaced by Tom Brady.
Oh.
6th-round pick Tom Brady, who was in his 2nd year in the NFL, and he took them all the way to the Super Bowl.
And Bledsoe never, started for the Patriots again. Ended up starting for the Cowboys among several other teams.
And the reason I bring that up, Riley, is because you weren't expected to be at the Social Center. In fact, you're not even hired to do Social Center stuff, but we don't have somebody there. And you said, "Can I get in?" And you got 5 minutes prep time, and here you are.
And this is a sports show, and so we figure people on a sports show know about sports and some history.
Except for Drew Bledsoe, yeah.
Do you know the name Lou Gehrig?
Yeah, of course.
The Iron Horse.
Yes, of course.
Once set a record. Wally Pipp felt bad one day at first base, and so he took a day off and was replaced by Lou Gehrig.
So what we're saying is you might be Tom Brady or Lou Gehrig. Or you might not be. You might never ever get a chance again.
Yeah.
You never know.
You might be Moonlight Graham. I bet.
I definitely don't know who that is.
Does that mean anything to you?
No, I'm going to play it off.
Field of Dreams. He only got.
Oh, yeah.
He never got to bat.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Bronny's somewhere crashing his vehicle into something. Riley, tell us how you got to TexAgs.
I got to TexAgs. I came in one day and I said, basically, I need an interview. And David interviewed me, and
so he's telling a terrible story.
Okay.
We're going to let you tell.
He always tells me I tell a terrible story.
I haven't gotten past it. What's that last name?
Tunnicliffe.
Tunnicliffe.
Yes, sir.
That's interesting. Never heard that one before. Where are you from, Tunnicliffe?
I'm from Denton, Texas.
Oh, Denton, Texas.
But the name is from England. It's an English name from.
Yeah, I didn't think it was like Latin.
Fisherman off cliffs. That's the name of it.
Fisherman off cliffs.
Yep.
Okay.
Hey, so let me tell the story because this is props for him. Again, two sets of props. I had already finished my interviews for the interns.
Okay.
And I'm packing up, getting ready to leave one afternoon, and I hear this guy being loud. Not loud, but he was like, "Hey, how do I get an interview? Nobody's responded to me. I really want to." And I heard him talking to the receptionist, and I said, "You know what? I'll talk to you. Let's go." So we came in here thinking this ain't gonna go well.
Yeah.
And he knocked it out the park. He did fantastic, and we had to find a spot for Riley.
So Riley, are you a Bronco or you're a Ryan Raider or I forget what the other one is up there?
I'm actually not. I'm a Calvary Lion, which is it's a private school, in Denton. So I'm not a Ryan Raider.
Private school kid.
Yeah,
Oh,
kinda.
okay.
No,
Tough.
Hey, what would you expect from someone named Tunnicliffe?
Oh, wow.
Tunnicliffe, I'm going to a private school.
His parents are listening, and they're not going to like you, OB. You're gonna
Nobody
get the hate mail.
does.
Yeah, well, there's like 5.
Except for Luke's dad.
Luke's dad likes you. And the
yeah.
guy who gives you Aggie
Mark.
baseball tickets all the time.
Oh, yeah. Good friend Jack.
Yeah, you got those two. Hey,
They went to public schools, by the way.
Riley, give us some news, please.
Okay, we've got some game times set for this weekend. 1 p.m. on Saturday, 6:30 p.m. on Sunday, and the game 3, if necessary, is still to be determined, and I think that just depends on the first 2 games for Aggie baseball. 6 spots have been qualified in the final round for Eugene by the Aggies. Jaqueline Scott in the 110-meter hurdles with a 13:37. And also in the 400-meter with a personal best of 49.93. Ahmad Robinson in the 400-meter with 45 seconds. Sam Whitmarsh, 800-meter, 146.01. He was the top qualifier in that event. Kamar with a 145.32. And then in the 4x400 relay, which is Javon O'Brien, Cutler Zamzo, Kamar, Ahmad Robinson, they qualified as well. So they'll be competing on, I believe, Friday.
So the baseball team from Oregon comes here. Most of the track team of A&M going to Eugene.
We like that.
Oregon.
Yep. Well, we got a couple people on the YouTube page said that they do love OB. Bullfroggy, we love you, OB.
All right. I bet he went to a public school, too.
No doubt about that. All right, let's do this. Let's hit a break. Stephen McGee's actually in the lobby, so in a couple of minutes we'll get Stephen on.
In here.
When we come back on TexAgs Radio, a couple different things I want to get into, OB. I want to talk a little Greg McElroy, who's got a comment about Notre Dame being more desperate than A&M.
I can see that.
So we'll talk about that on the other side. Right now, if you're looking to move back to Aggie Land, you need a gig, right? You just don't want to unless you're like OB, just independently wealthy, you can get a job at the Association of Former Students, obviously if you're qualified, but they're looking to hire a bunch of professionals in many different departments. They're looking to hire people in fundraising and former student programs and marketing and much, much more. They're the nation's premier alumni association, serving the best out there in Texas A&M and that Aggie network. They play a part in every Aggie story from howdy to here. Don't miss an opportunity to help out the association with Howdy Socials, Aggie Rain Day, class reunions, Aggie Muster, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. So if you're interested in joining a team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each position. It's the Association of Former Students. They're good at
Is that on your
broadcasting.
yeah, they are. They really are.
Yeah. Is it on my playlist?
Yeah.
Now
No.
it will be.
Oh.
Now, because now it's got a little Aggie
Got
feel
that
to it.
Aggie baseball images to it. She's from Seminole, Texas.
Huh.
Tanya Tucker, Seminole, Texas.
Seminole, Texas. What's the name of the show? The Big Show. The Big Show.
You know, the TexAgs Radio, the Go Hour.
TexAgs Radio presented by somebody, though.
Oh, the CC Creations. That's
No,
the Go Hour CC Creations by the Gem of a Guy, David Gardner Jewelers.
Yeah, I forgot the name of this room though.
This is the Rollo Insurance Studio.
Okay, and that's the Angry Elephant Youth and Social Center. You know that, right? Aggies gather there. Okay, now, so Greg McElroy believes Notre Dame is more desperate than Texas A&M.
I can see that.
To win by a mile. He goes, I don't even think it's close. I think it's by a mile. He said on his podcast, Always College Football. I think you look at Notre Dame this year. This is the year that Marcus Freeman has circled. You bring in highly touted prospect at quarterback. You have a new offensive coordinator in Mike Benbrook. You finally talk all offseason about the improved play at wide receiver. The defense has a chance to be one of the best in the country. I think the secondary is arguably the best in the country, he goes on to say. And then he says about A&M, I don't think Mike Elko's right now expected to do a whole lot in year one. Now, I happen to think they're a very dangerous team, not picking them to make the playoffs, not picking them to challenge for the SEC championship, but I would be shocked if A&M didn't knock off a contender this year.
Yeah, all those things are true. All those things. A lot of people won't pick A&M to win, to get into the playoffs or contend for the SEC, even though they might. But there's always a surprise team, and I can see A&M being that. But you know, Marcus Freeman, was this going to be his third year?
Yes, sir.
And last year, remember, they lost to Ohio State, and Freeman knew he only had 10 guys on the field for Ohio State's game-winning touchdown, and he didn't call timeout.
That's right.
You know, so there's questions about him as a coach. I mean, that's as bad a screw-up as there is.
That is a bad screw-up.
And because he knew. It's one thing. We didn't count. We missed it.
We missed it.
But when you didn't have knowledge, I knew. But
I knew we could handle it.
Go with stupid. So, if not for Notre Dame as a program for him, now what I don't get is why they're saying that the receiving is going to be so much better. Their top one, their best receiver, is a kid from Westlake, Jaden Gracehouse. They brought in last year a guy from the lacrosse team who was actually pretty good. And now they've just added Tyler Buckner.
Who was a quarterback and a lacrosse player.
Right, who went to Alabama he failed at Notre Dame as a quarterback, went to Alabama, failed miserably as a quarterback, went back to Notre Dame to play lacrosse, and now he's playing receiver. And you're telling me when you're doing those kind of things to get that you're going to be better?
Well, he's a walk-on. He's trying. He's going to try to make it.
I get it, but
I think that's a cool story, though.
It is. The story's great. What I'm saying is, though, these are the kind of things you're looking at your receiver and saying, they're going to be better at receiver.
I don't know the rest of the crop. I feel like our fan base is desperate, though. So I think there's going to be grace given to Coach Elko year one. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
But what is grace? Like, the expectation is to be better than what we had in the Jimbo era.
I agree.
Better than what we saw the last 3 years. I think 8-4, you'd be like, all right, it was fine. It was a good year.
8-4 would be because you improved.
Right.
You improved on your
7-5. I don't think anybody's going to be happy. I think you'll be like, there's grace there.
Yeah.
There's definitely grace. Like, all right, look, it's not what I wanted, but
this first year.
Right. But that's the bare minimum.
Right. Usually the first-year coach gets a pass unless you're the guy from Mississippi State last year where everybody just saw how completely inept you were, and you couldn't even deny it.
By the way, this is obviously us talking about no injuries. Like, we're just talking about if you're losing games because how they lost last year. Sometimes just, what are we doing here, guys? That's what we're talking about. Playing, and that's why I think most of us believe you're going to be better.
I'm going to tell you one of the reasons I think they're going to be better, and it's goes back to the guy that I've been really excited about him joining A&M all along was, I'm not going to say who it was, but there was a player in the office a couple days ago, and you could just see how much his body has changed.
Didn't you ask about?
And just how much just physically stronger he appeared, and then I asked him about it. So, and again. A&M could not push, the opposition off the line of scrimmage. We all saw it last year. They struggled to convert 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. I've been cautiously optimistic about A&M. I'm not even cautiously. I'm just optimistic that A&M is going to be better able to pick up those 1-2 yard, those key situations.
But do you agree with me that the fan base is more desperate than what the program is? So Marcus Freeman, to me, is desperate.
Yeah, I mean,
Mike Elko is not desperate.
No.
Fan base-wise, we've been waiting since 2020 because we kept on thinking, this is the year we get into the playoffs. All right, this is the year. It's been 4 freaking years since the Orange Bowl.
Okay, just from the people I talk to, when I get around and I know you talk to a lot of people because people come up and want to talk to you about, and same with me. The feeling I get is like they're like it's more of a, I hope we're better, but I'm not allowing myself to believe it.
Well, what I also have seen from people is, I think I like everything from Elko.
Yeah,
because most of us were down with Elko day one, right? Even before, I remember talking to people in the lobby. Ryan Broniger, if Elko was this coach, like people were high on Elko before, but there were some that were like, I don't know enough. What has he done? And I think as he's done the talk circuit,
right,
opinions have changed. And not that talk circuit means anything, but you sense a leader, you sense command, you sense organization. Now we'll see how
all
it
those
plays
things
out,
are true,
but you sense it.
But you know what? Last night I went to an event, and it was a presentation for somebody who's going to start a hospice house. So that's what it was great. It was a great idea, and there was a doctor there, local doctor, and hey, there was him and another guy. There was actually 3 guys, but the doctor talked to me the most about it. And he says, how do you feel? I said, I'm cautiously optimistic. He said, yeah, I don't want to be. I don't want to be cautious because I get let down too many times. I'm going to be there, going to be rooting for, but I don't even want to be optimistic. So that's kind of the feeling I get.
Look, obviously I won national championships, but I'm trying to think, what's a program's resume that hasn't won national championships that you would want to change with, or at least in the last 20 years? Like, is there a program out there like, look, I want to win as many national. I would love to be Alabama. I would love Georgia. I'd love to. Mm-hmm. But if you could change places with somebody that hasn't won resume, right? Who would it be?
I can't think of anybody.
Would you change places with Ohio State under the Ryan Day era? Absolutely, I would.
Well, I mean, yeah, because they've been playing for a. They've been
How about
in the
Penn
mix.
State?
I think A&M and Penn State are very similar, but Penn State has a conference championship within the last 5 or 6 years.
And they have 10-win seasons.
Yeah.
We don't. I would trade places with Penn State. And by the way, he's a coach that we could see gone.
Yeah, I think it'll be a mistake. It's the same old deal when 10 wins isn't enough.
Yeah.
What do you remember how people were trying to push Harbaugh out the door?
I do.
Because 10 wins weren't enough.
Sometimes you got to be a little patient.
And when you're getting 10 wins, do you really want to knock out a guy that can get you 10 wins and assume the next guy's going to make you better? Because sometimes it doesn't work that way.
Do we know a situation like that?
Yeah, I think we know a situation like that. I think we're still trying to get over pushing a guy that was your best coach ever out the door, 20 years ago.
Yeah. All right, let's hit a break here. We'll come back with Stephen McGee in studio.
McGee.
I'm going to play a soundbite for you guys. Okay.
Holly, wait.
The soundbite.
Are we actually going to be able to hear it this time?
I think so. We're going to put headphones on. But here's the deal. It's from a quarterback that I like a lot that I think for the first time has taken a misstep. Okay?
Okay.
Right?
All right.
And I'm going to see if you guys agree.
Is it a college quarterback or a pro quarterback?
It's an NFL quarterback.
Okay.
All right? I'm going to see if you guys agree with my assessment of that. All right? Right now, though, let's talk Father's Day. Obi, you like being a dad.
I love being a father. It's the best thing that ever happened to me.
So whenever you're planning your Father's Day activities, I would like for you to consider something because I know Irma likes whiskey.
I bet she does.
I would like for you to consider Hush and Whisper. Come to Hush. Okay, first off, it's awesome. You're gonna walk in there like, man, this place is great. I want to hang out here, right? And you're gonna be like, are we really here in the Brazos Valley? This feels like
whiskey played a big role in me becoming a father.
Is that right?
Yeah.
You did the face. Come take a tour experience, but from now until June the 14th, through June the 15th, for every bottle purchase, get a Polo half off. So Buy a bottle, polo half off at Hush and Whisper.
What's a polo?
Like a collared shirt.
Oh, so you get the shirt. Okay, I thought maybe there was a drink or something.
You get the game. No, you get to play the game out in the field. The shirt.
Okay, well.
The shirt. So come by. They use only the finest local ingredients, committed to the highest quality of production on Hush and Whisper. You can reserve a tour. You can do a tour and a tasting. You can just do a tasting. You can book an event, meeting, celebrations, team building. Come in for a cocktail or maybe a mocktail. Buy a bottle. Experience it at home. Gin, vodka, white whiskey bottles. They're open Thursday and Saturday, 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. And then on Saturday, this weekend, let's go, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. 219 North Main Street there in the Verisco building downtown.
Did you say they open Thursday and Saturday?
Thursday and Friday, 2 p.m. to 11.
I didn't hear Friday.
And then Saturday has a different time.
Okay.
11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Okay,
but not Monday through.
No.
Okay. Just the weekend.
All week they're getting ready.
Weekend party.
They're working. It's just they're working to make it a great weekend
all
for
right,
you.
I want to know. I don't want to show up on the wrong day.
Hushandwhisper.com is the website. Write it down.
Hushandwhisper.com.
On camera. I want you to write it down on camera.
Hushandwhisper.com.
Hushandwhisper.com. All right, we'll be back. We're back here on TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations, David Nuño, Olin Buchanan, and our QB1, Stephen McGee from Paragon Financial here in the house. Stephen, what's up, buddy?
Morning.
How are you?
So my curiosity is, are you going to be at the Mexico-Brazil or Oregon game?
No, I'm not going to be. Yeah, I'm not.
Oh, yeah, because you're out of town.
I'm going out of town. I'm driving my family across the country for soccer. My kids have a tournament in Atlanta.
You're a good dad.
I love being there. I don't want to drive, but we're going, and I'll be doing the show from the road.
Boy, it's a long drive.
Mr. Savage is getting married this weekend?
Next week.
Next weekend,
yeah, that's right.
I told him there's still time.
Yeah, there's still time to invite us, right? Can you imagine?
I was saying, there's still time to back out.
Oh, gosh. Can you imagine you, me, at the bar putting on a show at Savage's wedding?
Notice he said me, not me, at the bar.
No, he won't be at the bar.
Hey, I saw you on TV.
Really?
You went to the baseball game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, the camera was panning to the crowd, and you were sitting there in your TexAgs T-shirt.
Yeah.
And you were biting your
nails.
nails.
Yeah, because it was at a very,
he does that during the show.
Yeah. It was at a very tense moment of the game. I was like, okay, come on.
What a game, though, right?
What a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a great experience, and I'm so thankful for my friend Jack for providing tickets to me. But I can't remember the last time I've been able to go to a sporting event of this magnitude as a fan
and not work it, right?
You know this. When you're working, it's just a completely different mindset. You're not rooting. You're trying to make sure and to just sit there and just be a fan again and start getting into it and getting nervous and all those things. It's just reminded me again how much I love sports.
Steve and I have become a fan again of the Texans. It took a few years, right? Because I got to work with them up close and lost all respect for the way they run their organization. They've battled back, right? They got a great quarterback, good GM, good head coach. They're going in the right direction.
Great quarterback coach.
A great quarterback, a great coach. D'Amico Ryans.
Gerard Johnson.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Sharp guy.
Yeah.
Very sharp. I say all that. I think
Did you teach him everything he knows?
Everything that he knows not to do.
Not to do. Well, C.J. Stroud, for the first time, I think, took a misstep, okay? He's been doing a lot of talk shows recently, and he's become, to me, a soundbite machine breaking. I don't want my quarterback to be a talk show host. I want you to listen to him talk about Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford on a podcast just this week. And let me know if you agree or disagree. OBU too.
Stafford, Stafford is another one, bro. He might be up there with Brady and them, bro.
No, come on.
No,
bro.
that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's
that was
crazy.
crazy.
Let me go back. Hey, because look, look, dog, hold on. Before you do all this, I'm a student of the game. Stafford a dog.
He
bro.
is a dog.
No, you don't understand, bro. You saying that. That's all I watch. I don't watch nobody else. I watch Mahomes at times because Mahomes does some stuff that like you can't coach. Stafford, dog, he will beat you with the same thing every time. All that no lick stuff, I got that from bruh. Like, literally, that's one of my big, like, I'm a fan of his. Like,
if
when I
he's
go to
a
LA,
great quarterback.
I be trying to find, bro.
But
Like, we
it's
got the same
levels of
trainers. I be trying to, like, go to where they working out and just watch.
That's all I'm saying.
Elite, dog.
Like Charles Barkley.
Hold on. If you give Matthew Stafford a chance like Aaron Rodgers, I guarantee he might have had more rings, for sure. I think Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford had more rings than Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he have another ring probably.
I'd say he had like 3, 4.
He might. It's possible.
Bro.
He good.
When
But what I'm saying is his levels are great.
Long enough.
We
went long enough there. So he thinks that Matthew Stafford's. I don't want my quarterback breaking down a quarterback that he's about to play this year. And he bulletin more material about Aaron Rodgers, excuse me. I don't want that from my quarterback. Am I wrong? It's a different generation. Social media's changed the game. These young men have a different vehicle to speak their mind. I don't want that.
Yeah, and I guess it could always be worse, though. I mean, you could always be really bagging on
Deshaun
somebody.
Watson.
I think he's really speaking, trying to praise a guy and how good he is, which I totally agree. We were playing in a golf tournament randomly enough, and the guy in our group was Kirk Herbstreit, and he was asking about great quarterback.
Did
and
he cry?
Said, did he cry? No, he held it together for that round. After I hit a couple of drives, he probably wanted to cry. But it was funny. He asked, like, what quarterbacks do you really like? I was like, there's so many good young ones, C.J. Stroud, et cetera. But in that older group of guys now, I love Matt Stafford and Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
They're like the best, like, pure throwers of football. Like, it's just so fun to watch them spin it. And I do agree with his sentiment. Like, Matt Stafford, if he had the same supporting cast throughout his career in Detroit that a lot of these other quarterbacks had, think of like Tony Romo in Dallas, or you can go through a list of guys, not just Aaron Rodgers. I think that he would have won a lot. I mean, you see what he did in L.A. So he's a phenomenal talent. I think he has a good point, but yeah, you want your
They're
going to
face each other this year. Is part of the reason.
That part doesn't bother me because he really didn't criticize or put down Aaron Rodgers in any way. So, do I agree with it? Not necessarily, but like Steve was saying, look, Aaron Rodgers was the 21st, 22nd pick to Green Bay, right? He went to a good team. He had to wait, but he went to a good team and had time to really develop on the behind Favre and learn. Stafford was the first pick. Why are you the first pick? Because you're going to a team that sucks. That's why you're the first pick.
Yep.
And it's Detroit, which has always sucked. And they got to the playoffs. And so if you were to say, look, if you change the situations around, is it just outrageous to say that, but let's remind something. I don't know that he won 3 or 4, right? I'm not going to say that, but let's remind ourselves that Aaron Rodgers, for how great he is, and Steph, they have the same number of Super Bowl wins.
There you go. That's true.
So, but I don't think he put down. I'm not a Texans fan.
Right.
I don't hate them. I'm
but
kind of ambivalent.
Do you want Dak talking about other quarterbacks? Do you care?
I don't care.
Okay. I appreciate it when a quarterback has respect for other quarterbacks. They do it in a way like, man, that guy's a great player. We're going to have to play our best game today to win. I really respect the way he leads his team. Like, I don't mind that.
That I like, yeah.
And I think that they, especially older guys that came before him, I appreciate when young guys come along and they have respect for other generations. They respect the game and the history that came before them. So I admire that.
And there's a very good chance that he'll never face Aaron Rodgers because he's old and he's behind the Jets line. Well, I don't know when the game is, but he make it 5 plays last year.
It's true. Dude, I was talking about Achilles last night. So my buddy Joseph came by the house. And have you guys ever had an Achilles injury?
Yes,
Never.
I have.
Have you tore it? You tore it?
I didn't tear it, but I did something to it. I know I couldn't walk on it for a while, but it wasn't to that degree. No.
Okay, that's where he's at right now. He's in this predicament. I'm like, man, I hope I didn't tear it.
Oh, no.
I was like, did you hear the pop? And he said no. And I was like, man, that's a
Can he walk?
He's limping.
Yeah.
But it
you
sounds
can
like
walk, but you can't run.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You can't run at all, and you can't even jog.
Yeah, he looks
and
like
you can limp a little bit and walk.
He went after tried to flag someone down, if I remember correctly. He was basically jogging to go get the person really quick, and boom.
Yeah, I was jogging up hills in Tennessee back when I used to run it's not like jogging here, right, where a hill is like a 5 meter grade.
You're talking about Tower Point? I feel like I'm going uphill the whole time.
Yeah. Well, where I'm in my neighborhood in Tennessee, it was very hilly and but yeah, it sounds very similar to what anyway,
you don't have a problem.
I don't have any problem with what CJ said there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I know you're very bullish on Connor. Are you bullish on the rest of the quarterbacks, Jalen and Marcel, and if so, why?
I'm really excited about Marcel because of and Jalen. I don't want to jump over him, and he did an incredible job last year. I mean, all he did was just come in and
played really well.
Yeah, and the team believed in him. He played well. They won. I mean, what more can you ask from a guy? I mean, and he handles his business really well, it seems like. But Marcel adds that element that I don't think we've really had in quite some time of an elite athlete at the quarterback position.
Yeah, I know it was a bowl game. Nobody cares. It was Oklahoma State, Big 12 team, but they did play for the Big 12 championship. And he had that one play. He threw the ball really well, like 300 yards or something like that. Yeah. But he had that one play where he had to scramble a little bit, and he turned that corner.
Yeah.
And it was like a bolt of lightning. And I'm like, man, I love that in a quarterback. Not anything against McGee. That 12-yard run I think it was against Texas, that was brilliant, and it goes down in history.
You didn't get that same flash of
but it wasn't quite as fast.
You put a good carrot cake on the end of that bar, though. You'll see that flash. But Marcel, man, he's so raw. Like he's got so much upside. And for defensive coordinators, it is so difficult trying to stop a quarterback that adds that element because they're unaccounted for in the run game, right? So you have to bring another safety down the box, which is just difficult because then it puts those, if you have them, elite playmakers on the edge one-on-one.
Let me ask you this. So Riley, he made his debut today as the backup to the social center right over here, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't mentally
Riley
prepare.
Tunnicliffe.
Right? He didn't mentally prepare. He came in and he did a great job. How different is it when you know you're going to be the backup quarterback is, all right, you're going to start this week to we need you to go in right now. You didn't even have a time to think about it.
So I think it's easier. I don't want to say it's easy. It is easier in college because unlike in the NFL, you didn't get a single rep all week. You don't even I remember my first game, I went in against the Arizona Cardinals.
I remember that.
And I had never, I'd say never. I had taken enough snaps with Andre Gerard to know that he snapped the ball on his left cheek. But I also had taken enough snaps with him to know that we still had not had a successful one. And he would always just tell me to go away. So I'd go down to the rookie centers, right? But when it came game time and now I have to get a snap instead of right down the middle, like every other center in my entire career, I had to take it on the left. It was incredibly nerve-wracking. Right. I mean, it's different, right? Because you don't get the reps. But in college, you have so many guys. You have so many, scout team guys that
you get reps.
You get tons of reps. So these guys are prepared. I mean, there's no excuse to go in a game and not feel like you don't know the system and you don't know what they're asking you to do. But getting out there and having the reps when the lights are on is different. But these guys have done that now too because they've gotten good reps last year.
Funny, I just had a memory of covering the Aggies like in '93, and I'm not going to say who it was, but their backup quarterback came in against Oklahoma and got in the shotgun. They didn't have a shotgun package in the offense. They did that in his high school. And everybody's like, what?
What are you doing?
They snapped, so I guess they've made progress in college football.
Right, let's hit a break here. We'll come back with more. Your buddy who hurt his Achilles and OB, maybe you didn't have new running shoes. I'm trying to find it. Yeah, you probably need it. You can go to Brazos Running Company, located there at Century Square. They're Aggie owned and operated specialty running store with the best selection of running gear in the Brazos Valley. They've got Brooks, On, Hoka. I'm wearing some Hokas right now. If you're a runner or walker or interested in fitness at all, the right shoe makes all the difference in the world. And at Brazos Running Company, they're passionate about running. They also have different brands to consider too. They got Birkenstock, they got Vuori. Everybody loves Vuori. Make sure that you go by there for Father's Day too. Get yourself your dad a running shoe from Brazos Running Company, located at Century Square below the Star Cinema Grill in College Station. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio, Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. You brought up Shane Gillis. I've got it. Who are your top 3 comics right now?
Shane Gillis, 1.
You like Nate Bargatze?
I do, because he's clean, right?
He's very clean, yeah.
I appreciate that about him. That's probably really good, too. Who would be 3?
Sebastian Maniscalco. I love him. I don't know if you know who that is. The look you gave me was like, who? Let's see who else. Do you like Chappelle?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I think
I like
funny.
Bill Burr.
Bill Burr's
I think his routine on how women failed the WNBA, feminists failed the WNBA is just classic. It's so hilarious because it's so true.
Yep.
And then Chappelle, and I don't know who would be number 3 on my list.
Chris Rock's having a little resurgence. He's back after getting slapped.
Yeah. Shane Gillis is still.
Shane Gillis is.
I can't wait for you to listen to him. I mean,
Okay, I'm going to make sure I watch him.
He's pretty good.
I'm not familiar.
What's his name? Tom Segura?
I think I've listened to him.
Or the Burt Kreischer without the shirt? He's fantastic. I don't even watch Burt.
I don't think I've seen him yet.
That girl that was on the Tom Brady roast,
yeah, what's her name?
She was pretty funny. She was dirty.
Did you guys watch that Tom Brady roast?
I haven't watched it yet, but I know what you're talking about.
Is it good?
Yeah, this is going to sound strange. The language is a little bit over the top. Coming from me, what does that tell you?
Exactly.
But, I mean.
Probably not.
But, yeah, it was pretty funny.
All right, let's do a quick buy-sell lease. Quarterbacks, young quarterbacks in the NFL, buy-sell lease off of the C.J. Stroud commentary. Josh Allen, C.J. Stroud, Brock Purdy.
Oh, man.
Okay.
I got to buy CJ. I would, Josh Allen is so dang talented, man.
Isn't he?
He's so elite. Last year was a step back for him. And if we're going off just last year, I would say I would lease Brock Purdy because he's in San Francisco. But if we're just saying forget about the cast, forget about the team.
System,
I'm just picking the quarterback today. Right. I'm picking CJ Stroud 1. I'm going Josh Allen as my lease, and I would sell Brock Purdy. And I love Brock Purdy. Like, that's a hard sell. Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna buy Josh Allen.
Okay.
I mean, he's had teams in the
AFC Championship.
Conference Championship game, and they
so
they didn't lose necessarily because of him.
They lost to Mahomes.
Yeah, so I'm taking Josh Allen. I would lease C.J. Stroud, and I would sell Purdy.
Yeah, Josh Allen is so unique because you build you do the Build-A-Bear.
Yeah,
for your daughter.
When I had a kid, I mean, my son was small. We had like 50 of them.
You build the quarterback, and you'd have to say it probably looks a lot like Josh Allen. I mean, he's 6'6", 245.
Can
he has
run.
a
He's
cannon.
physical.
He's an aggressive decision maker, but then he can run.
He brought Buffalo back.
Yeah, I mean, it is really incredible. I mean, he's.
It's funny because I'll listen to ESPN during the football season, and they'll constantly trash Allen for not winning championships, but they will constantly lift up Lamar Jackson.
True.
This is a good point.
This is a really good point.
Yeah, why is that?
Yeah. But Josh Allen, transformation, similar to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you remember Aaron Rodgers, the way he held the football at Cal, and just his whole mechanics. He transformed as a quarterback when he got to Green Bay. Josh Allen as well, from Wyoming. If you look at him early in his career, you can see why he was a little bit under the radar. But then that transformation and development as a quarterback is up there with the best of them. That's pretty awesome.
Got to hit a break. Thank you, sir. Enjoy your weekend.
Yeah, you too, buddy.
OB, we'll see you tomorrow, right?
I'll be here.
All right, man. All right, we'll hit a break.
God willing.
Jim Schlossnagle joining us here in a few with Richard Zane. That and more. It's TexAgs. Welcome back into TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Super Regional weekend coming up starting Saturday against Oregon, 1 o'clock. Richard Zane's in studio with me. Let's go straight to the hotline. Hey, Richard, how are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
On the hotline, we are joined by Jim Schlossnagle, the head coach at Texas A&M Baseball. Schloss, good morning, sir.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're great, man. So just take me through the week you've had in preparations for the Super Regional.
Gave the guys off Monday, and 2/3 of the day on Tuesday we had a light workout, kind of like we did last week, just a super light workout. Tuesday evening, yesterday will be our heaviest day where we were on the field. Rain pushed us back to the middle of the day. We were trying to go in the morning to get used to getting up for the 1 p.m. game, but the rain pushed us back. We were able to get everything in, and along with some sim games for some of the guys that didn't pitch on the weekend but could be active this weekend. And then yesterday, that was yesterday. And then today, we're getting ready to practice here in about 40 minutes. We'll just be in the cages light, get some ground balls, have a few other sim game guys to throw to make sure that, the guys on our bench get at bats. So a guy like Coffer or Bard or Jet Johnston, Bender, whoever's going to be active on Targosh, guys who be active on a roster, they get 4 to 8 at bats every week, even when they don't play. So try to keep them locked in, and we'll just be in the cages today. And then tomorrow we have our official practice time with the NCAA. We'll be on the field for about an hour and 15 minutes. So trying to just keep them sharp, but take advantage of the rest and get ready for the weekend.
Coach, obviously Bluebell Park provides its own unique home field advantage, and with the atmosphere during games and all of that, but you've been on the road, you've been at home in the NCAA postseason, so from 1 week to a regional to a super regional, how beneficial, how helpful is it to stay at home and be able to stick in this routine?
Yeah, it's great. You don't have to travel that one day. It definitely feels like a long week when you have the Saturday game, which is, I've been a part of both starting them on Friday or Saturday, but I think any time you can get a little bit extra rest this week, this time of year, is really good. But the anticipation is, you enjoy it for probably 2.5, 3 days, and then you're itching to get back out there. So excited to be at home. Obviously, 12th man. We talk about it. I mean, they couldn't be more amazing. Especially obviously this past Saturday. I think by Sunday. I don't know if it was because it was just Texas or because it was just the amount of emotion spent by everybody in Saturday night's game. Sunday was a lot of people, but I think even the crowd was a little spent. But we can't have that this weekend. It's going to be warm on Saturday, and so everybody needs to be hydrating with water this week to be ready for the weekend.
You mentioned the extra rest there. Do you like the idea of starting Saturday and having the game a day later than you're used to? Yeah, I think so. I think, it's, you got to look at it one way or the other. In 22, we started on Friday, and I think we were the first team. We played a night game, then like a midday game maybe. And I think we were the first team to qualify to go to Omaha, and that was a good feeling because you got to spend all day Sunday and Monday, watching everybody else sweat it out and just enjoy and relish in the fact you were going to the College World Series. So, but no, we'll take the rest and be ready to go, and hopefully we can avoid any issues with that soccer game.
What is, as you've started to dive into the Oregon Ducks and the prep for that, what is really sticking about that ball club and what they're going to bring to you in this weekend?
Really, really, really good baseball team. Sound, fundamentally sound team. Throw strikes, move the baseball with the bunt game and stuff like that. They'll run the bases some, and they have power and left-handed power. So it's going to be awesome series. A lot of times I judge teams by, there's a couple factors in which I judge teams. I can tell how well coached they are, or what mean, I shouldn't say well coached, what they care about and what they don't care about. And one thing they do an awesome job of is holding runners. Not going to be a whole lot of stolen bases on our end this weekend. These guys do a great job with their leg times, and they do a really good job of they pick a lot. So just very, very, very good baseball team. We're going to have to play well. We're going to have to play our absolute best. And 2 out hitting, that normally decides most of these things. You could always have a pitcher have a bad day. But they have one good left-handed starter and then one really good left-handed reliever. And everybody else just throws a bunch of strikes. And I think Coach Wazikowski's had Oregon in the NCAA tournament every year he's been there. So he's been all over the place. He won a national title as a player at Pepperdine. I think he coached in Omaha as an assistant at Florida. And then he's been a successful head coach at Purdue and Oregon. I think those are his stops, but very good, very good.
I know the Ducks were a win away from Omaha a year ago before losing to Oral Roberts, but at least to this fan base, they might be a little bit of a unknown considering these two programs have never matched up with each other ever in the NCAA tournament or in the regular season. So, Coach, I was hoping maybe you had a comparison for the Oregon Ducks to a team perhaps you've played this year or maybe in the past during your time at A&M.
Well, first of all, they didn't have a program for like 30 years, so it'd be awful tough to play them. They were out of baseball for a while. Mm-hmm. But I would, we didn't play Kentucky. I don't know that they run that much, but it's that level of well-rounded team, just watching Kentucky, whether it be in person and at the SEC tournament or on television. Trying to think the rest of the year, our league is you have like your power hitting teams like Georgia, but they don't do anything else, in terms of run or bunt. And then you have the teams like Vandy who started to hit some homers at the end, but Vandy is the team that's going to run and move the baseball in different ways and try to play really good defense. So they have more power than Vanderbilt, and they have a little more live baseball, true baseball than a team like Georgia. So maybe Mississippi State, something like that, but they bunt more than Mississippi State. So, yeah, we haven't played this this kind of team, really, to be honest with you.
Schloss, have you determined who the third starter potentially could be or the overall rotation? No on the first question, because we'll do what we have to do. If we have an opportunity to win a game, we'll do what we have to do to win the game. So, right now it's Prager and Sadeo. And outside of those two guys, anybody's available to pitch in the first or second game. And then we'll figure the third game out when we get there.
Kind of to that end, we saw Justin Lampkin get get an appearance on Sunday in the late innings. Not too crisp, but I think at least he's going to play a big role at some point in this postseason. What has been the returns from him after that outing, and what are your plans to use him this weekend?
Yeah, I think for the most part in his career, Lampkin's been awesome in that role. And I threw him in that inning because I wanted the absolute best strike thrower, or one of the best strike throwers. I need to retract my little throw it forward back from Chris, because he's actually been throwing a ton of strikes. So I apologize for that. But I wanted Lampkin out there. The first hitter was left-handed, and he's been really good in that role in his career. And he was actually throwing the hardest he's thrown the whole season. He just couldn't command the ball. Kind of his arm was moving so fast. I don't know, something he wasn't used to so thankfully we got out of it. Had an awesome relay play to get the first out of the inning. That's just a massive play in the game. took some pressure off of that inning. But I think Justin, so we got him back out on the mound on Tuesday to get that taste out of his mouth. He threw two hitters, two lefties and a righty in a sim game on Tuesday, and he threw awesome just to kind of get that taste out of his mouth and give him a little practice. So, we could see him. Caden Wilson actually threw really, really good on Tuesday. So with all of Oregon's lefties, those guys are going to play a role, obviously, with Ashenbeck.
Well, let's get a little bit more into that pitching staff that Oregon has. What challenges, the lefties and beyond, does Oregon present from a pitching perspective?
They can just really pitch. I haven't gone all the way through them. Mike is already deeply into it. There's some velocity guys, but not as many as certainly not a Hagen Smith or Cal Stevens or some of these super big arms that we've seen in our league, but guys that can really pitch. The starter on Fridays got a couple different breaking balls. Pitches, really commands his fastball. Holds runners. So just very, very, very sound stuff. So we're going to have to be at our best. We're going to have to be on time for the fastball and be, nobody hits good breaking balls. Be able to be on time for the bad ones. So, he's got a big challenge ahead of him too. Our lineup, when we're going right, is pretty tough to pitch to. But these guys are more than capable. Then they have the lefty who can really pitch, manages the run game great, and then the third guy obviously threw a complete game in the third game. So we have our hands full. This is real. This is a real baseball team. When you're going back to your other question, I think they're real similar to Louisville that we played in 22. They have power. There's a few guys that can run, and Louisville. They bunted a guy with the bases loaded and 2 outs in that Super Regional game. If you remember, one inning ended with Claunch just walking out in front of home plate, picking up a ball and stepping on home plate. So, when teams aren't afraid to take that kind of action, it kind of always keeps you on edge.
I believe it was late in the game on Saturday against Texas. We saw Teddy Burton kind of pull up a little lame. We know we've had the hamstring issues in the past. Obviously, he stayed in that game and then played on Sunday. As you've gotten a few days removed from the regional weekend, how is he doing health-wise, and I guess the health-wise of the rest of the club?
Yeah, he's great. Teddy's fine. He was bunting and running yesterday, moving around really well. So we're good as far as I know as of today. But I haven't been down in the training room today and we have practice at 10 o'clock. So I'll find out more if there's anything to find out. But as of now, we're fine.
Schloss, how important was it to see Gavin get going, get that last home run, and just to move on?
Yeah, I think he had been going. He lined out the right field in that game. He started the game off with smoked the ball up the middle. So the thing that, if you don't know anything about baseball, you associate getting going or being a good hitter or being hot with getting hits, right? So, obviously it's awesome when you get a hit, but you can take 3 horrible swings and 3 balls fall in, and you're actually really not swinging the bat that great, but you got lucky. And we'll take it, and it builds confidence. But if you pay attention, like somebody said to me, maybe it was one of you guys, about Jason Lavalette, we win a regional without him getting an extra base hit. How many times did he walk in the regional?
I know he walked 3 times on Sunday alone.
Yeah, so I think he had like 8 walks on the weekend. And so if you really know baseball, you don't associate getting hot with getting hits unless those balls are hit hard. So he smoked the ball up the middle. I think he hit a liner to right field in that game. And so even me in the dugout, even though it's frustration, you're like, oh, he's in a good space, man. He's going to get one at some point because he's locked in, especially anytime you see a guy hitting the ball the other way. And so he's on. And so, but yeah, I was happy to see him get that homer. Obviously, it extended the lead. But I felt good about Gavin all along. I had no concerns.
Speaking of a guy who hitting balls hard, and Jace Lavalette can attest to it. Braden Montgomery hitting stuff on the line. And then he got that 3-run homer on Sunday. Just how important is it to see him finally get going and feeling good about himself again?
Yeah, I mean, how important do you think it is? I mean, it's obviously incredibly important. Huge at bat when we had a runner at third base, less than 2 outs, and Jace had just popped up and kind of taken the air out of on a 3-1 pitch and kind of taking the air out of the stadium. And Braden hits that backside single, and he's been smoking balls. He's been smoking balls for 2 or 3 weeks. They just actually been on the ground most of the time, and so they left the 0-2 breaking ball up with 2 outs. So that's 4 2-out RBIs, right? I mean, that's going to decide. That decides every baseball game: pitching, defense, and timely hitting. We'd like to think that you're going to score a ton of runs and blow somebody out, and it just doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen these games. You face everybody's best pitching, everybody's locked in. You got to make plays, and you hope some balls fall in with 2 outs, because that's normally how the games are won and lost.
Schloss, last thing for you from me. Brad Rudis, you can use him so many different ways. Just how important and what kind of role do you see him having this weekend?
Yep, same role. Same role as he's a guy that when we need strikes, he's going to be in there. And you trust him to field his position. You trust him to throw strikes. I think he was a little bit out of gas Sunday night, but we were hanging on for one more hitter, and then Stewart was coming in, but he did a great job. And we've been around him enough. He's been here for 3 years, and the most beautiful thing you can get out of players is when you know what you're going to get. It doesn't mean he's always going to perform great, but you at least know he knows who he is. You know who he is, and you kind of know what you're going to get. And more often than not, it works out in a positive way.
Schloss, thanks for your time, sir. Good luck this weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Gig 'em.
Gig 'em. Jim Schlossnagle on the hotline. They're ready, man. They are ready.
I'm ready. It's so weird it's Thursday, but
we have to
going to the
still.
ballpark tomorrow. That's strange to me.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, bud.
Of course.
Richard Zane there. All right, we'll hit a break here. Coach G's in the house. We'll talk a little bit about the Mexico-Brazil game and stuff going on with the program as they've just picked up a big transfer. After that, we're going to talk a little NBA Finals. So you got that and, of course, much more, A&M baseball and football to get into here throughout the remainder of the show, CT, in the third hour. So a lot to get into. Right now, though, we'll hit a break. We'll talk a little FBS Appliance. Their team of experts are there to help you with the appliances that make your house a home, carrying all the top brands to make your life easier, and appliances to fit any budget out there, carrying for Texas since 1988. FBS Appliance has trusted brands like Bosch with expert staff and trained installers to guide and help you through your purchase, because they want to be number one and they want to help you throughout the entire process, committed to customer satisfaction at the core of everything that they do. That's why they've assembled a team of trained sales professionals who are experts in their field to provide a personalized assistance drawing on their product knowledge. But it doesn't stop there. Their service technicians are the best out there. They're going to have factory-trained gentlemen and ladies that will come to your house and take care of you. They understand the intricacies of installation. FBS Appliance is committed to delivering an exceptional experience out there. Visit any of their 8 showrooms across Texas or find them online at factorybuilderstores.com. Again, that is factorybuilderstores.com, FBS Appliance. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. My buddy Coach G is in the house. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, thanks. Doing great. Good to be in the summer.
So you know that I had a great Saturday this past week. My team won the Champions League.
Madrid won.
Yeah, it was a great celebration.
They had a great second half.
And a terrible first half. Horrible first half. We've got the big game coming up this weekend at Kyle Field with Mexico and Brazil, and you've had a busy spring. So let's kind of wrap it all up. First off, how did the spring go?
It went well. It went real well. We we returned almost our entire team from last year's side. Another solid run. We were we unfortunately lost late in the SEC semifinal. We go to another run into the NCAA tournament. It's 28 out of the last 29 years, and end up losing to the national champions, and actually played them better than anyone else in the country.
I think you're going to win that game.
I know. So we lose 1-0 in Tallahassee, and then they go on and smack Texas 5-0 the next round. Go on to win the national championship game 5-0. So, I mean, no one played them as tight as we did. So we returned our entire defense. We returned all of our best midfielders. We returned our leading scorer. But we went into the transfer portal, wanting to have a little bit more pop in our attack. We were only outshot by two opponents, one of them being Florida State last year, and so we wanted to, knowing that we were out shooting everybody, but we weren't finishing those chances. So we wanted to get at least one more, proven goal scorer. So we went after strikers in there, thinking if we could get one more. So we signed 5. And so just get a little bit more consistency and a little bit more depth in our attack. So a couple of those players will be on campus now, starting with summer 1. We just signed our most recent one, our first Jersey girl. So a little toughness with that, with Allie Lowry coming in from Rutgers. And she's already played in the Final Four, so we're excited about that. But players with different backgrounds, but all of them proven, big time players coming in to get a little bit more spice to what is already a really, really solid lineup. So we're really stoked about what the fall can be for the Aggies. And
the portal's been good to you guys, right? Last year you got
we are really good speed daters. We can do really, really well. When people come in, number one, they're always, just like I think people are going to be blown away this weekend when they come in for the Mexico-Brazil game. They're blown away by the town. They're blown away by, this is a really livable place. It's a really obviously friendly place, but they're also blown away just by how everything is laid out. And when they see the surface of what Ellis Field is like, they're like, okay, I can play on this. I can do this. And then they look at our history and the success and the championships and everything else, and they're like, yeah, I want to be a part of this.
Yeah.
And I want to, that ring looks like it really means something, and I want to be a part of that too. So we have done well. Our leading scorer last year, Jazz Wilkinson, is out of the transfer portal, and we've been able to bring in players who've been able to step right in and do things. And so we've always looked at the portal as adding something special, not just adding more people, but we've only gone in there to add, an extra, really player that was an exclamation point to the sentence.
Was that a hard transition for you, because you've been doing this for a long time? Is it 28 out of 29 years making it to the tournament? Some coaches don't like the evolution, but you have to kind of stay current, don't you?
Well, of course, and we've looked at it as a way to find something special, and it's the thing that's different about us than other teams around the country is that most teams around the country, the kids are leaving. They want to leave. Our kids, they don't leave. I mean, we retain our players. We graduate all of our players. When players come to Texas A&M, they kind of like it here, and they kind of. All of our girls graduate. All of our girls, we had brag a little bit about our team. 3.6 grade point average for our team this past semester. 11 players with a 4.0 grade point average. I mean, it's a phenomenal group, and so we're not looking to have to replenish a lot of players. I mean, we only had from this past year's team, only 2 of our players, because it was a young team. Only 2 of our players went ahead and graduated and moved on. Both of them were able to turn pro. So it's kind of cool how that moved on. And one of our other players who did graduate and moved on now is going to be working on her PhD, and that's Jordan Gunnarsson. So we're pretty excited about, again, what comes back. And we start really early. It's because it's out of a leap year, preseason starts earlier. So we'll actually start, a report date for the players is July 28th. That's a lot earlier for preseason than we've ever had. So I think first scrimmage is the 3rd of August, and then our big fish camp game is on the 24th of August.
Already.
So it's right around the corner.
I want to ask you about Mexico, Brazil, but before that, World Cup's not far away.
Mm-hmm.
So could you see more games coming to this area beyond what we're getting with Mexico, Brazil?
Well, that's what we want. We had initially we were we had put ourselves in to be one of the host sites for training camps because we thought that we would be an outstanding central location for 2026. USA and Mexico and Canada are the host for a 48 country World Cup, and by Bryan-College Station, we have an airport 6 minutes away from campus. We've got great amenities for hotels and anything that the teams would want. And again, with Ellis Field and everything else and Kyle Field and everything else being so close, so we thought that would be an ideal situation for teams to be able to base themselves here as a base training camp and then move on. And it didn't work out mostly because of FIFA and a lot of their contracts. They wanted to take over the entire university.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
And yeah, it's just that didn't work with our university.
Right.
But the idea of wanting to have friendlies and different things, we've been talking. I've been talking with the school about that for a long time, and so I'm really excited that it's finally coming to pass this year. And we've been saying for a long time, number one, we're leaving a lot of money on the table. And for our community, I mean, you think back to the COVID year and the hit that our community took when we didn't have full houses, or even, we don't have we had 25%, occupancy in Kyle Field. Think about what our community took as far as a hit when we couldn't bring those people into our city. So now, okay, well, we're going to have at least 70,000 people that wouldn't usually be here on a Saturday night in June. Now we're going to have 70,000 people from out of town coming in to Bryan-College Station. This is at least as many people as we would have for typically a McNeese State or think about, it's at least as many people as we would have had for a lot of our non-conference games when we were in the Big 12.
Right.
So it's basically another home game. It's another big event that we're adding to the calendar for our local businesses and for our hotels and for our restaurants and for everything else that's going on. And it's another way to kind of spread the news about what a cool place Bryan-College Station is. And the difference is, these are people who, a lot of them have probably never been here. So these are people that don't look like me. I mean, these are people who are going to be speaking Spanish, speaking Portuguese, as well as just world football fans from around the United States. So it'll be a cultural change for a lot, and but I think it'll be just one more thing to kind of take the veil off of what Aggie land is, and I think show another smiling face to a lot more people, to show what our community is really about.
All right, before we hit a break, what kind of talent could we see? Because some of these guys may not be able to play, but there's world-class players going to be on Kyle Field.
Well, first off, Mexico will be I guess you could call Mexico the home team. The Mexican team will be. I haven't seen the lineups, and they will probably not show the lineups and even the rosters for the most part until right before. But the Mexican team is going to be a very young team. Both of these teams are preparing for Copa America. Copa America is like a mini World Cup for the Western Hemisphere, for the American hemisphere. And the United States usually doesn't participate. Canada usually doesn't participate. Mexico doesn't usually participate. It's usually South America. Mm-hmm. But it's being hosted here in the United States, more money in the United States, and we are participating. So The United States and Mexico both are going to be playing, and both of them are set up on the other side of the bracket, opposite Brazil and Argentina. So both of these guys are going to be opposite these guys. So I know that the United States will be keeping a close eye on Brazil because we, United States, could play against Brazil. Mexico, obviously, are a team that we're always keeping an eye on, and so Mexico are using this as this game on Saturday as preparation for Copa America, as are Brazil. So both of these teams, this is a tune-up game. They'll be looking at their lineups. A lot of the Mexican team is they're kind of getting themselves. This is a preparation for qualification for, which will start not very long far in the future, for the World Cup preparations. So Mexico is using a lot of their domestic talent from their domestic league. You'll see a lot of their young, vibrant players. I think you'll see a very exciting team, but again, they're going to be some of the younger players, but they're going to be players that are based domestically in Liga MX. So that'll be the Mexican team. The Brazilian team, I mean, there are some of the who's who, but a lot of those players have just played in, like Vinny Jr., who plays with Real Madrid. Those guys just played in the Champions League final this past week in Wembley in London. I would imagine they're still getting a little bit of time off leading into Copa America. So they may be on the sideline. They may not be here yet. But still, the Brazilian team are everyone's favorite every year to win the World Cup, even though Argentina, their arch rivals, are the defending champions, the defending who's who. You'll see that the Brazilians are going to be the favorites. I think, most people would say that the Brazilians are going to win this game on Saturday, even though they're not going to be the home team. There'll be more Mexican fans by far, which I think will make it more fun.
Yeah.
And I think, though, that the Brazilian team is going to be loaded from front to back. Alisson, who is their talisman goalkeeper, should be in goal. He's the goalkeeper for Liverpool. And then you'll see all the way through the lineup just some remarkable players. The skill that Kyle Field, they've been able to get, I think, about 70 yards of width out of it. They've added grass to what is usually the track around the outside. I was out on the pitch the other day. It looks fantastic, as you would imagine. Aggies can grow grass,
so we can do that.
It is spectacular. So for a lot of people, there are still tickets available, and it's going to be a great night. 7:30 kickoff, and even here in the summertime, that 7:30 is that magic time when it becomes really comfortable out. So if you don't have a ticket, you want to see something that is pretty cool.
Come out.
And it's going to be a great night out at Kyle Field. It's something that's definitely different. It's the other football at Kyle Field, and I don't think anyone will think that you did not get your money's worth by going out and seeing, especially these two teams. There could be a lot of teams that came to play here. These two teams are not going to disappoint, and it's not the first time that either of these two countries have sent their national teams to Aggieland. My women have played both of these countries' national teams. It was just their women. So this is the first time that the big teams are here. So it's very, very exciting.
Gee, thank you, sir.
Thanks,
Appreciate
brother.
you. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with Ryan Hollins, talk a little NBA. Right now, Heritage Films time. That's Chance McClain's company. They make documentary films about families. You got to check it out, yourheritagefilm.com. Your dad's got a good story. Your mom's got a good story. Your grandfather, your family business, your family ranch. All these stories are fantastic. And Chance McClain can put these in a 2-hour documentary form, just like A&E, just like Netflix, just like HBO. That's what he does with a Heritage Film. We did it for my father. It was fantastic. Highly recommend you get your family story told so you can pass it on from generation after generation. There's also the Year Flicks, which is the 20-minute version, a benchmark video, more reserved for the youngers, right? So you can do it with your 6th grade son, then 8th grade year, then 10th grade year, then they get to A&M and get their Aggie ring, do a 4 or 5-part series, 20 minutes, benchmark style. It's called a Year Flicks. The website, yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. It's Heritage Films. All right, let's talk a little NBA Finals. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the hotline. We're joined by a 10-year NBA vet who played with Charlotte, played with the Clippers, played with the Mavs, Ryan Hollins, who does color analyst for the Houston Rockets. Ryan, good morning, buddy. How you been?
Morning. How you doing?
Doing wonderful, man. Doing wonderful. Let's get into this NBA Finals. How have the Mavs done it? How have they gotten here so far?
For one, they got bigger at the trade deadline. They got more physical, which means they have the ability to defend. And when the Warriors aren't the Warriors, you're seeing defense come back. You're seeing size come into play. And Derek Lively and Gafford have been a huge part, not to mention P.J. Washington, just shoring up the rebounds, rim protection, longer, more athletic. So that's how the Mavs have done it, because the scoring had always been there.
What about the Celtics? You know, we've gotten used to seeing them have deep runs. What's different about them this year?
Well, they're deep, and Drew Holiday brings a consistency. Marcus Smart, man, had that swagger, had the ego, had the intensity, but Drew Holiday is kind of that consistent factor. They're deeper. I think a lot of people forgot how good Porzingis was, even though he'd been out. And then this is an experienced group. They're the old dogs in the East now. They're the ones who kind of been there and done that. So I think in terms of Boston, like, this would be a massive failure if they don't win the championship this year. They're going to start to raise a lot of questions. And they already had a major shift last year and kind of made it back. So, you know, those moves with Porzingis and Holiday will really pay off if they end up winning. But that's the only reason that you make them.
Ryan, I find it interesting that Kyrie has done like a 180, right? He was beloved as a rookie. He got hated for several reasons over the last few years, and now he's likable again. What have you seen about his redemption arc this year?
Man, I played with Kyrie as a rookie, and for him, it's bigger than basketball. He loves people. He likes to do things the right way. And, you know, people forget about athletes. When you challenge an athlete, that competitive nature jumps out. So he doesn't mind putting his foot in the ground. But in Dallas, he's beloved. He's been embraced by Mark Cuban and Nico and J. Kidd and those guys in the organization. And he's happier than I've seen him in a very long time. And now the off the court, the embracing, the people are good. So now the basketball is good for Kyrie. And he's at that moment in his life where he realizes, like, man, I hadn't been to the finals in a long time. I hadn't been healthy. I haven't been a part of this dance. So I think his love for the game of basketball and respect is back. So it's really fun, man. And I'm super excited. Last time I saw him, I just made sure, you know, I embraced him, man. I was happy for him.
What about Luka? I mean, he's always been fantastic, but he's playing at a different level. Injuries don't stop him, or being hurt doesn't stop him for sure. What have you seen from Luka?
Luka kind of understands he's at that make or break, you know, kind of part of his career where we know that he's in the MVP race. We know he can score. We know he's an all-star. We saw it with Joker, Giannis. I still think Embiid hasn't broken out of there necessarily yet with a championship. But Luka knows at this point he has to win. He can't just be all talk. And a big part of that is him being healthy and playing at the highest moment. So I think for Luka, you know, he's still trying to cement his legacy. And you see how he went off against Minnesota in that Game 5, and you're going to need even more from him on the biggest stages.
Talking to Ryan Hollins here on TexAgs Radio. What does this finals mean for the two head coaches, Jason Kidd, obviously, and Joe Mazzulla, who last year had his struggles?
Man, I think for Joe Mazzulla, man, he's going to be the scapegoat. If they don't win, they're going to say, Joe, you have the team. You got a center. You got two dynamic wings. You got the point. They're going to say, Joe, if you don't win, this is your fault. And at this point, for him, it's managing personalities, understand the emotions of the game. Joe Mazzulla is a scientist when it comes to basketball. He's right up there with Spolstra and Brad Stevens and those guys as far as the X's and O's. He's a student of the game. He knows it, but he's going to have to manage emotions. And this is a huge opportunity for Joe Mazzulla. Now, in terms of Jason Kidd, I think Jason's playing with house money at this point. You know, he just has to not mess it up. But former teammate of mine over there in Dallas, and I think for Jason, man, he can go down as one of the greatest Mavs ever, man. Winning a championship as a coach and a player, oh my goodness, he doesn't have to buy a drink or Dallas for the rest of his life if he pulls this one off, man.
Hey, you get to see Ime Udoka up close and personal. The guy is a wizard as well from a defensive standpoint. What have you seen from him this year and how he got the Rockets going in the right direction by the end of the year?
I think Ime Udoka has a chance to be arguably one of the greatest coaches to ever coach the game of basketball. He's thorough. He understands culture. He played the game. If I always say if Popovich was a 6'8", former NBA player, that would be Ime. And he gets it, man. And he finds a way to embrace the guys and bring the most out of them. And I think that's unique to be able to go into different situations and say, how do I get a guy to play at his best? And if you look at the Houston Rockets this year, you had so many players playing career basketball, career numbers and shooting percentage, defense, games played. You go down the list, and a lot of that is Ime, man. And he pushed those kids, our guys, every single day, man. So for Ime, man, he is over-delivered, to say the least. And I would say, obviously, in Boston, and even more so in this situation here in Houston.
Ryan, last thing for you. This morning, Woj dropped the bomb that it looks like the Lakers are trying to woo Dan Hurley. What do you think about that? I know 20 years ago they tried to get Coach K for Kobe. That didn't work out. They're trying again to keep LeBron happy. What do you think about that potential marriage?
Dan excites me, man, because he's got that dog in him. What more can we expect from the Lakers, man? The J.J. Redick plot twists, and then all of a sudden it's Dan Hurley, and everybody's going, whoa, everybody's going from, well, how's that going to work? Is he going to be podcasting with LeBron to, wow, Dan Hurley, hold on, that's the name we didn't quite think of. And, in my mind, man, by the time you hear news like this, a massive deal and all this, it should be just about done. So I think it would be a great move for the Lakers. What it tells me is that you got to respect that LeBron should respect Dan in this position. But if you have to get younger, he should be able to get younger. He just dealt with 18 and 19-year-olds. You get what I'm saying? So if the Lakers have to transition, they're saying this is the guy we can trust to transition. This is why we're talking about long-term money. So that's what I see with that move.
Ryan, great stuff, man. Thanks so much. I enjoy watching you play and, of course, on the TV. I appreciate your time.
Hey, you guys been killing it, man. Don't let me take the segment down now. Y'all keep the show up now. Y'all been on fire, so keep it up, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you. Ryan Hollins there on the hotline. Appreciate that. All right, we'll hit a break here. We'll come back with a short open segment. Get into whatever you want to. You can text us at 979-693-1150. I'm sure Riley's got a thing or two for us to get into. Schulte Roofing time. They're an award-winning roofing company, and they do it all, but they provide industrial, commercial, residential services to Belleville, to Brenham, to Bryan, to College Station, to Conroe, to Montgomery, to Navasota, to San Antonio, and the Woodlands, and, of course, those surrounding counties out there. Schulte Roofing is the home of the Bulletproof Roof Guarantee. I'll say it again. Schulte Roofing, home of the Bulletproof Roof Guarantee, the industry's absolute best roofing system, roof installation warranty, 100% satisfaction guarantee, or your money back. They've been around since 1994 with humble beginnings, but they are the best when it comes to what they do. That's why they're one of the top 100 roofing companies out there. Call them up, 1-800-4ROOF. That phone number again is 1-800-4ROOF, or go to the website, SchulteRoofing.com. That is SchulteRoofing.com. Check out Schulte Roofing. And we're back here on TexAgs Radio. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. So after this show, heading to Atlanta. We got people staying at our house to take care of the pups, and but we got to drive all the way across the country. So I'll be watching baseball on my phone and on a TV. It's going to be a crazy weekend here in College Station. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Riley's there. Riley, tell us something good.
We've got more track and field today. We've got a few women running today, later at about 1:30. I didn't mention in the segment earlier, we've got 2 or 3 second-team All-Americans that didn't end up advancing to the finals in Eugene, but those were names like Caden Norris in the 800-meter, Sam Hankins in the javelin, and Javon O'Brien in the 400-meter. All 3 of them had outstanding outings. Caden Norris, I think, missed the cut by like a half a second, and he was 11th in his heat, and I think top 10 advance. So kind of unfortunate, but all 3 of them got second-team All-American honors.
Good stuff. Anything else you want to report there, Riley?
Mavs play tonight. We're looking forward to that. Hopefully Luka can play. He's day-to-day with a knee injury.
He's playing, bro. Don't even go there.
He says day-to-day. You never know.
You know. You didn't hear his quote from 2 weeks ago?
I didn't. What was it?
No, he's like, he doesn't miss games. He's like, no, I'm good. I mean, this is at this time of year you play. He's good. He'll be fine. I appreciate the awkward silence.
Yeah.
Thank you. No, Riley, really, no, Usted, thank you. All right, we'll hit a break here. When we come back on TexAgs Radio, what do we got? We've got CT coming up here in a minute. We got Boomer White joining us. And then after all that, we're going to have Roy Philpott, who was on the call for the A&M Texas all weekend, actually, for the entire weekend. So we'll talk to those folks here when we come back. Right now, though, let's talk ground shuttle. They offer frequent and reliable shuttles from Bryan-College Station to George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston. So a lot of you have kids that are at A&M, and you need to fly them out to wherever, your beach house in Guam, whatever it may be. Let them take care of you, because going to Bush Intercontinental Airport can be a very difficult process. Trying to find parking, you park far away. Just get away with no stress, guys. Commute in comfort with luxury shuttles with reclining seats, power outlets. Enjoy the ride, catch up on work, email, school, read a book. Your shuttle driver takes care of all that driving. Their offices are right there next to Casa de Brazil in South College Station. Get dropped off at your office or utilize their convenient, secured on-site parking for the first 4 days free. Ground shuttle runs 9 shuttle times on weekdays every hour and a half, and 5 shuttle times on weekends every 2.5 hours. Excellent for business and travel commuters out there, and they also have a charter service. So make sure that you reach out to them. Groundshuttle.com is the website. That website, again, is groundshuttle.com. The phone number, 855-303-4415. It is 855-303-4415. Ground Shuttle. Let them do the driving. Hey, we're back. TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Trying to get Boomer White on the program. We're having issues getting him on the line, so we'll just get you set up. In a few minutes, though, we're going to have CT on the show, Chris Taylor. He's got a camp coming up that I want to ask him about, so maybe we'll try to alternate those two from talking at different times. He's got a camp, I believe, in Madisonville that he's promoting with a bunch of his buddies, so we'll talk to CT about that here momentarily. But right now, this is typically Around College Baseball, brought to you by Milliken Reserve, a College Station community featuring homes, trails, farms, and wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. Take part in the Milliken Reserve Conservancy by going to getting a Conservancy membership. Learn more at millikenreserve.com. That website is millikenreserve.com. So when it comes to this weekend's games, the thing I keep hearing, and we heard it from Schloss, and we heard it from Bronny, and then if you start reading the numbers, this Oregon team is like, do not think because they're not an SEC team that this is going to be a walk in the park for Texas A&M. If you look at the last couple of years, and by the way, let's not forget that A&M did lose to Stanford last year. Yes, you were not as good as you were this year, but these Pac-12 teams, they do play, and I can't take credit for this original thought, but they do play in a different environment, guys. This is not like what we're used to here. So they get much more rain. They get not as good of crowds. Like it's kind of a different environment out there. So sometimes when you get them here to the south or in places where it's super hot and the ball bounces more or travels more, I should say, there's a different offensive explosion than you're used to. So you look at the numbers right there in front of you. A&M's averaging 2.5 more runs per game. Their batting average is 19 points higher. Their OPS is a little bit more than 100 points higher. And you look at the pitching side of things. Obviously, you look at that rotation. Prager and Sadeo have been phenomenal. And Sadeo, that's been a more of a recent discovery, at least from the starting pitching perspective. But this is not going to be a walk in the park. Now, you like what Schloss has done at home since he's been at A&M? Absolutely. You look at some of the things that they've been able to do, absolutely, you should feel comfortable about it. I do expect them to win, but this is not going to be an easy one. If they are built a little bit like, I think he used the example of Louisville and he used the example of Kentucky, if they play ball that same way, it's going to be a very tough matchup. And is not going to be, but here's what I want to see from A&M. The selection of pitches that they swing at, right? Be selective, because when you get deep into counts and you get deep into it, I think we do see a different A&M baseball team. Get them deep into the game. And by the way, yes, A&M was not able to score a bunch of runs against Texas, but as that game moved on, you felt much more comfortable with them getting their second, their third, their fourth at-bats. They're going to have a great pitching staff. Now, the bullpen, I'm looking at those numbers right there. I'm feasting my eyes on that. If you can get through the starters and get to that bullpen with a 7.24 ERA, they've given up 27 home runs. If you can get to that, I'm going to feel much better about it. No doubt about that. Guys, let's try Boomer White one more time. I just saw a text go through. Hopefully it's him. But if we get A&M to get to the bullpen early, right? Third, fourth, fifth inning, I think we're going to be in prime position to see them go a long way. What we're going to do here is, as we are tap dancing, trying to figure out what we're going to do this segment. Riley, do you have the rundown in front of you?
I can get it pulled up.
There's a section up top called Fact or Fiction. We're going to play a little Fact or Fiction here for a few minutes, okay? You're going to ask, you're going to give me the statement, and I'm going to tell you Fact or Fiction. Sound good?
You're giving me the statement?
No, I'm the analyst.
Okay.
We're going to go to you. You're going to read us the Fact or Fiction. Okay. So at 8:20, you see that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Give me the first one.
Let me get it up.
This is the best radio we've done in years.
It is, isn't
it?
No,
that's really my best job I think I've ever done. 8:20. Fact or Fiction? You don't see it, do you?
I don't. I was on the...
You totally lied to me a moment ago, didn't you? You say, yeah, I see it. Let me find it. Let me get it up. Don't lie.
There it is.
All right. You ready now? This is great. Really. Let's just keep doing this.
Are you on the rundown or the show packet?
I'm on the rundown.
Rundown.
Yep.
Well,
Kate, do you see the rundown? All right. I'm just going to ask myself these questions, okay?
Okay.
Oh, my God. Well, Connor Wigman will throw for over 3,000 yards this year.
Fact.
Why do you say it's a fact? You're supposed to ask me. You're not supposed to give the answer, but it's okay. Why do you say it's a fact, Cade?
I would say that it's a fact because I think this is the year we finally get him healthy. We finally get him for a full season. I think that's fact. We get 3,000 yards this year from him. I could care less about. I hope it's a good interception to touchdown ratio, but I say fact. 3,000 yards.
Well, I'm going to say he's going to throw for over 3,000 yards, and here's the reason for it. Last year, as a team, in that disruption, in that disarray, with the offense having their ups and downs throughout the year, with all the injuries that we saw, with the bad offensive line, as a team with 4 quarterbacks, they threw for 3,240, all right, 3,240 yards. I believe Connor is going to be healthy this year. I believe he's going to throw it more than we saw last year, and it's going to be a more explosive offense. I think the running game is going to be really good. But, yes, I'm going fact on Connor Wigman throwing for over 3,000 yards next year. And I just think a lot of it has to do with health and offensive line. If they're able to spread the ball out the way I think this offense is going to be able to, they're going to get 3,200 passing yards, no doubt. Do you, either of you have the rundown now
yes,
open?
I got it.
Yes,
I got it.
I have it. I have it completely in front of me.
Let's go back and forth. You go this time, Riley.
Okay, James Franklin will be fired by Penn State by the end of the season.
Yes, he will be. And I think it's going to be a mistake, but I think James Franklin will be fired. Penn State has won 10 games many times. But they haven't been able to beat Michigan and Ohio State in the same season. And I think Penn State fans are getting very antsy. This is a big, big year for them. I thought last year they were going to be really good. They have to get over the hump this year, and it has to be an 11-win type season. And with the 12-team playoff, Penn State's got to find their way into the playoffs. Now, I think it would be a mistake to get rid of James Franklin because I think he's been really, really good. I think he's been really good. Think about what he did at Vanderbilt, think what he's done there at Penn State. But unfortunately, you know how it is at places. People get antsy. And that's why earlier in the show, when we were going back and forth, would I trade resumes with Penn State? I'll ask the audience that, 979-693-1150. Would you trade resumes with Penn State over the last 5 years, 6 years, since James Franklin got hired, since Jimbo got hired? Absolutely. They haven't gotten to the point. They haven't been to the playoffs, but that resume will get you into the playoffs a couple different times. So, yeah, I absolutely would. All right, Cade, you read the next one.
All right, the next one is Sam Pittman will be fired by Arkansas during the season.
Yes, he will be fired. Do you have their schedule in front of you? Because I think it's going to be early. I
do not, but I know they play us pretty early, or A&M pretty early.
Well, I know we had a graphic of it.
Yes.
So
pull the.
There, no, God, this is a good show today. So last year, Sam Pittman went 4-8, 1-7 in the SEC. The reason I think that there it is, I think the first 5 weeks of the season could determine what happens to them, because not only are they at Oklahoma State, which is not a foregone conclusion, and by the way, there's some other games. UAB I think will be tough. They're at Auburn. That's all in September. They get A&M September 28th. They get Tennessee by October the 5th. They could have 3 or 4 losses before they even get to LSU, which is October the 19th. If they lose Texas A&M, Tennessee, and LSU all, they will make a fire. I think they will fire Sam Pittman by the time they go to Mississippi State. That's what I think. The second half of the schedule is not – well, yeah, it is. They get Ole Miss and Texas and Missouri, so I take that back. Sam Pittman is not making out that season. Just looking at that schedule alone, they're going to lose – I think they're going to lose 3 in a row in September. To October. That Auburn game, that A&M game, that Tennessee game. I think they're going to lose those 3 games in a row. And you know what? I'm going to call it 4 games in a row. They're going to lose to LSU too. They're going to lose those 4 games in a row, and Sam Pittman will be looking for a job. So that's what I think. Riley, the next one.
Arch Manning will start a game this year.
Well, I have my answer, and I know my answer. I'm going to ask both of you guys, Cade and Riley, what do you think?
I think yes, but it'll be one of their non-conference games, I think.
Okay. Cade?
I think yes, but I think it'll be a kind of situation like maybe a Caleb Williams type of situation where if Quinn has a rough stretch like 2 or 3 weeks in a row where it's maybe it's like okay quarterback play, but it's not up to the level of where they wanted it at or like where he was at last year, I think they go to Arch and just see what he can do. I think it depends on how the season's going for them if they're going to do that, but I could see it being that type of a thing where he comes in, he gets a chance because Quinn isn't having the performances they wanted out of him.
I think you guys are missing my point here. Not my point, but where I'm going with this. I think Quinn's going to be fine this year, except he gets hurt every year. People talk about Connor getting hurt. Connor got hurt last year. Quinn Ewers, I believe, missed 3.5 games in his first year at Texas. He missed 2 games last year. He's missed 5 games the last couple of years. So does he have a full, complete season? That's yet to be seen. So, yeah, I do think Arch is going to get a start or 2 this year. And it's not because I think Quinn's going to struggle per se. I think it's going to be because life in the SEC is hard. It's different than the Big 12, guys. It's different than the Big 12, brother. And I think for that, missing, is it 5 games I think he's missed the last couple of years? Yes, I think we see Arch Manning get you there. All right, let's go to the last one. It's Cade, your turn to read.
Yeah, last one. The last one is A&M will score 34 points per game on offense.
Fact checked. I believe they scored 32.5 last year. Is that right? Fact checked me on that one. But yeah, they're gonna be better offensively. You know, it kind of goes back to the original point. If we get the Connor Wigman that we talked about with over 3,000 yards passing, the running game is going to be better. It's going to be better this year. You saw how, if you didn't watch the Luchador, watch it, and how Luch was talking about Reuben Owens, Amari Daniels, Le'Veon Moss have all looked really, really good, right? The running game is going to be better. They're going to be better defensively. I'm telling you, they're going to be better defensively. That's going to give them more opportunities offensively. So, yes, we're going to score 34 points a game. And last year, what was it, 7-6, 4-4 record, but we don't have the total offense is going to be better. They were 50th last year. I think total defense, that's an interesting one, but they'll stop the run game better than they did. And last year, they were really good at stopping the run. I think stopping the pass, is where we're going to see significant increase there. But no doubt about it, I think we're going to score 35, 36 points a game. Kansas State last year, and we have Colin Klein's offense, scored 37 points a game. If that gives you any perspective, that tells you. Look at what Connor did last year. Back to those numbers, 1,800 yards passing. Or that's through 9 games. I think throw in full starts through 12 starts this year, that number's going to be closer to 3,000. But back to what I was saying about Kansas State. K-State averaged 37 points a game last year, yes, in the Big 12. With the ability to have a more successful offense with I think a more innovative, creative offense, yeah, they're going to score 35, 36 points a game. I'm taking the fact on that. They're going to score at least 34 points a game. All right, we'll do this. We will hit a break. When we come back on TexAgs Radio, we're going to talk to Chris Taylor, CT, get his thoughts on the running backs, because I just talked about the running backs, and also about his camp and maybe some other thoughts on that as well. Right now, though, let's talk Aggieland Express Car Wash, your car wash tradition with the friendliest staff and the personal touch. They're Aggieland's first green car wash. They recycle 100% of their water. They've got 2 great locations. You know the original one, William D. Fitch behind the Shipleys in South College Station. How about the new one on Texas Avenue, 2528 Texas Avenue South in College Station, right across the street from the Planet Fitness out there. Both Aggieland Express car washes have all the services you want. Varying wash options. You got the free vacuums, the towels for your use, unlimited monthly membership starting as low as $19.95 per month. But the new location also offers something new, a full-service wash. The newest full-service wash in town. Choose the full-service option, and Aggieland Express team will take care of the cleaning, the drying, the vacuuming, Armor All interior, all under a completely covered area so that your car stays cool while they make it sparkle and shine out there. And for a limited time, they're inviting you to try their full service option for half price. It's normally $40, right? But you can get it for half that price for $20 as long as you tell them that I sent you from TexAgs, right? So right now, let's have somebody try out that full-service car wash at the brand-new location at Aggieland Express Car Wash. I'm giving one away right now. I want the first caller at 979-693-1150. Call right now to win a $40 value. Check it out. It is Aggieland Express Car Wash, the newest location, 2528 South Texas Avenue in South College Station across from the Planet Fitness. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm going to try to do 2 interviews this segment shortly. We're going to go to the hotline. Boomer White joining us. He got stuck in a meeting, but he joins us now to talk a little bit about the Super Regional. Boomer, what's up, buddy?
Man, I left you hanging. I'm sorry, but I'm here now, so let's chat baseball.
All good, man. Never a problem, man. Let's get into it. What do you think about this matchup with Oregon? I just had a segment where I was like, look, I think A&M should win and will probably win, but we cannot take this Oregon team lightly. Not that the players would, but fans. Like there's a level of respect that I have for that program, especially finding out all the talent that they have.
Oh, man, they're super talented. And I think, in the win-loss column, they underachieved by their own standards this year. Still, obviously, getting to the postseason and making a run is outstanding. But regular season-wise, ton of talent. They probably wanted a little better season out of it. But I think they're going to be as hungry as anyone. And, the Pac-12 is no slouch, so they believe they can compete with anyone. And they're staring Omaha in the eyes. So, yeah, I don't think you're going to see a big discrepancy in talent by any means. So it's going to be, who executes better.
Talking to Boomer White here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Let's talk a little bit about this pitching staff, because for so long, the beginning part of the season, there was a lot of attention on the pitching staff as the offense was crushing it. Then the pitchers were okay, and the offense continued. Then the offense kind of got down. Right now, the pitching staff, to me, has really been the headline.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the offense gives us fans a little worry from time to time, just that there are longer streaks of cold and hotness, whereas most of the season it was just blazing heat coming off the bats. It felt like every inning of every game. And now that you're seeing a little slowdown there, we're leaning on the pitching. I think there's been more emphasis on being strategic with who we're starting and who's coming in next and how we're blending everything together to keep these games tight when the offense isn't there. And I've been very impressed. And I think that, Chris Cortez has shown flashes of giving us great length when he's on, not just an inning or two of fire, but 4 or 5 innings. And then obviously Oshtenbeck and Prager and the rest. Sadeo's been outstanding too. So the pitching has shown up when you've needed it. And I think in a super and the rest of the way through Omaha, you really can't be leaning on your offense or your pitching to be super effective. You got to be working in tandem.
Talking to Boomer White here on TexAgs Radio. Let's talk about Jace Lavalette. And actually, you know what? The top of the lineup. I wanted to start with Jace, but just the top of the lineup, I feel like we're getting closer and closer to seeing that mashing that we got used to seeing during the middle of the year. There's been glimpses like, oh, here we go. Here, and I think all three are going to be on the same page here this weekend.
I do too. And I think it's just based off of how hitters work when things are contagious. When you see Gavin Grahovic tag him all the other way over the fence, that's going to ripple. And I would say that you're seeing Braden Montgomery hit backside singles and then yank balls pull side out of the yard. And Jace doing better things at the plate, too, than he was a couple weeks ago. So I think that is just maybe all it is, because the talent is there. The success has been there all year. So that's not what you're looking for. You're just looking for the mental side of it. And when you see just 1 or 2 of those top 4 or 5 guys get going, I think that's just going to spark everything. So I would not be surprised if you get the offense that you were seeing throughout most of the season this weekend.
Boomer, last thing for you. What do you think is the key this weekend? What is it going to take for A&M to move on to Omaha?
The key to moving on from Omaha will be the top 4 hitters in our lineup. The pitching is plenty adequate to keep games tight. And I don't fret that at all. I think that you need that spark in early innings of games to just show that they're ready to compete, not go down quickly on strikes, and not only battle at the plate, stay alive, but get those big hits when runners are on. And if I could, actually, I'll add another one in there. I'm going to say, timely hitting.
Timely hitting.
Blow the bases or. Yeah. We'll put runners on. Put a couple runners on with 2 outs. Can we get them in? Can you get the 2-out rally? Timely hitting in those first 4 hitters, and I think if you just get a little bit of both of those, I think it should be probably a clean sweep by the Aggies.
Boomer, appreciate your time, buddy. Thanks so much.
All right, thanks, David. Talk to you soon.
See you, man. Boomer White there on the hotline. Catching up with him. Always a good time. We'll talk to him hopefully next week as we prepare for Omaha. Let's go to the hotline again. Chris Taylor joining us, former Aggie wide receiver, doing big things here. CT, what up, buddy?
Man, how are you guys this morning? Great segment there by Boomer.
Yeah, man. We're happy to get you on the show because I know you got a big camp coming up, and I think we have the image of it. If we can put the picture up of his camp, let's talk a little bit about it. Madisonville, what's going on there, CT?
Man, it's returning home. I think it's important to get back in that community where it all started, and high school days. And I mean, we know the story. So going back up to Madisonville, got guys and coaches flying in from all over the country. I mean, and this combine is really, really focused on, really setting the baseline for these student athletes. I think sometimes in this region, not as much coverage. I know Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, those athletes get a lot of the accolades and the credits and the stars and all of those things. So we're just trying to bring some awareness and bring some recognition to these guys that are in the surrounding communities, like Madisonville, College Station, Centerville, Crockett, Navasota. So looking for a great turnout, looking for some athletes to learn a whole lot and to be able to understand where they are from a football standpoint, but excited about what Saturday is going to hold.
So how did the idea come about? Because you're always so busy, you're coaching kids, you're working, but how did the idea to come out to that area and be able to touch so many different parts of Texas that sometimes are underrepresented?
Yeah, and I think just looking at the current camp landscape, you have all of these mega camps and super camps, and you hear so much about athletes that go to these camps. And, I went and I got one rep during one-on-one, or, didn't get the instruction and stuff that I thought I would. And so it was important that when we came up with this, and it was a collective, idea and a collective thought from a bunch of different guys, that we had the athlete in mind. We wanted to make sure that they were going to, not only come here and run 40s and do 5, 10, 5s and things like that, but they were going to get the instruction that was necessary for them to be able to take the next step in their football and take their game to the next level from a football standpoint. And so, really talking to these coaches and really putting a game plan together, it was really with the idea of, let's make sure these athletes are getting quality reps, making sure they're getting the instruction so that they can take it and practically apply it for when they play on Thursday or Friday night, whichever night that may be.
CT, how can people sign up for it?
Yeah, so you can go to my website. It is TaylorSportPerformance.com, and it has all the combine information there. Also, I'm easy to find. I welcome people to reach out, send texts, phone calls. My number is 281-658-6552. And who puts that out on national media like that? But I'm not worried about it. This is for the kids. This is something that is big. And so, even our Aggie players now, I reached out and had a conversation with Noah, and he was gracious enough to do some things for us, and, him and Bryce Anderson. So, man, we've got some great guys that represent the maroon and white, and want to make sure that they're recognized for their efforts in helping us out with things.
CT, one of the things I love doing the post-game wrap with you and Leone, but the other thing that I think you really provide is analysis of positions. We've broken down wide receivers the last time you were here. Let's break down the running back group for a moment, because that's a area that I think we could see breakout performances from not just one guy, a couple guys out there, maybe 3.
Yeah, and the headliners. You've got Le'Veon Moss, you've got Amari Daniels, you've got Reuben Owens. We know what those guys are capable of, but I'm excited to see. You've got Hall of Fame running back. His kid is here, EJ Smith. You've got some transfers. Benjamin Landis that are here. So the running back room is really stacked, and it's an opportunity to be one of those positions that carries this offense. But at any moment, any of those guys, especially the first 3 guys that I mentioned, they're able to take it the distance. And I'm especially excited to watch Le'Veon. Had that injury at Ole Miss. I think he was on the cusp of really breaking out and doing some things special. But that running back room is, in my opinion, is so dynamic and just filled with big plays waiting to happen. So it's going to be exciting to see, how they're going to have that rotation and how those guys are going to fit in and what roles they're going to play.
CT, before we let you go, one of the things that I talked about in the last segment, we did a fact or fiction, and the question was, the statement was A&M's going to score 34 points a game next year at least, and I think they will. They scored 32.5 last year, and the offense was better than it was a year prior. No doubt about that.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel part of the reason is it's going to be a more creative offense. The running backs are going to be much more involved. They didn't have their best year last year overall. Do you see that being a number that you can see 35, 36 points a game?
Yeah, I've always been a big believer in getting your best athletes in space, and to line up and put all 22 between the hashes. That game was played a long time ago, and so seeing what we're kind of glimpses of it during the spring, and being able to spread and have guys that can fit in multiple spots, and I think the biggest thing is getting your best players on matchups that are favorable to your team. And getting Ruben and getting Le'Veon and Amari, getting those guys out in space against linebackers and bigger safeties, I think they're going to out athlete those guys and win those matchups. So I can see 35, 36 can be one of the best offenses in the nation. But obviously, the injury bug has not been good to us. If we can stay healthy, man, we've got the tools to be able to be an explosive offense this fall.
CT, great stuff, man. Hope to see you in person soon. All right.
Sounds great, man. Y'all take it easy.
Later. Chris Taylor on the hotline. We'll hit a break here. We'll come back with Roy Philpott right now. Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. They've got great deals on the website, so you can go to the website and get the car that you want, like just visually seeing it. But I highly recommend you go out there to Caldwell Country Chevrolet and you see all the great vehicles in person. You test drive them and you get to feel the customer service. And while you're there, you're going to see not only the great customer service, the great pricing, right? The price is like, okay, I can afford this. Let's talk a little bit more, guy. And you'll also see the great trade-in value. Okay, knock off a little bit more off the price. The entire experience is second to none. And remember, it's not a far drive. We're talking 15 minutes, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell. Online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. All right, welcome back here to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Let's go straight to the hotline. Roy Philpott joining us. He was here on the call for A&M's regional against everybody, Texas, Louisiana, obviously, and Grambling State. Roy, how was it for you, man?
It was great. I mean, we had a great time, working with Xavier Scruggs. We had just started working together the previous weekend out in Vegas for the WCC championship. And I don't think he had ever been exposed to that level of big-time baseball before, and he's tweeted about it after the fact. And so watching his reaction was pretty cool. And it's, you could feel it. Like that game Saturday night, it's weird how it ended. And, if you're a Texas fan, you absolutely just loathe the way that it went down. If you're an A&M fan, it was fantastic. But, to have a play like that at third base and instead of kind of a walk-off win on a normal base hit, we got done with that game, and it's just like we felt like we had just played 4 quarters of football. I mean, I don't know that I've ever been a part of a baseball game like that, and you could feel just the weight of the world on both sides, and I'm sure the ratings are going to be through the roof whenever they come out. So, yeah, long-winded answer to the question, but it was great. The hospitality was fantastic. Schloss was great to us. The food was great, and to see, Olsen Field at that level, I guess is the best way to put it, in the postseason, with all the chips in the middle of the table, man, that's something I'll never forget. And I know Xavier feels the same way.
Right. I think it's interesting too. That game, take away the rivalry, it still would have been as intense as it was. But then you throw in the rivalry, the fact that Texas is entering the SEC, the fact that A&M has had so much success against them on the baseball field. I mean, that was something that I think you didn't even have to be there in attendance to feel it if you were watching it on TV.
Yeah, it's weird. Like I joke with people, and people want to know my opinion. What do you think that game will rate? And the way I judge that is by the number of random people I hear from on my personal, cell phone. And we got about halfway through, and there are friends of mine I haven't talked to in 15 years blowing me up. Man, I can't believe this game. Who had no dog in the fight, who had no rooting interest for either side. You could be on the outside looking in, and I think you could not turn the channel even well past midnight Eastern time, because you could feel it. I mean, it checked all the boxes, and to be as well pitched as it was, to start, it was phenomenal. And the atmosphere was phenomenal. I don't know that I'll ever have a game like that the rest of my life where, and it's what you said too, it's Texas coming into the SEC. We mentioned that a couple times on the broadcast. Like it's everything you could possibly envision leading into a game that you could never duplicate, So it was pretty special the entire weekend.
So now our attention turns to Oregon, and we've been doing our research, getting closer to that one. This is a team that our staff here says they look like an SEC team. What do you think about this matchup?
Yeah, well, I had Oregon at Oregon State about 2 months ago, and Jacob Walsh and kind of what he does, and Coach Waz. I mean, yeah, they're an SEC team now. Truthfully, I do like how it matches up with the Aggies for a couple of key reasons. I like A&M's, pitching, especially after what we just saw. And Max Wiener, I don't know that that's been written about enough, what he's meant for Coach Schloss and coming in from the Bigs and from the Seattle Mariners. They looked a lot different than what I anticipated in terms of the arms. And even a slight taste with Chris Cortez late on Sunday night in that game against Louisiana, and watching him hit triple digits and his control and command, like what a weapon out of the bullpen. But so the arms, I think, surprised me, and I'll take A&M's arms this weekend. But maybe more important than that, it's just some guys and the offense warming up. Braden Montgomery was batting 157 in the month of May before this weekend. That changed in a hurry. 3 hits in the first game in the win against Grambling State. We saw the home run on Sunday, which was tremendous. And then Laviolette finally got some things going, and Grahovac with that shot that he had. That may have been as important as anything this weekend, just to have him close strong. So I like all of those things in how the regional came to a close. But at the end of the day, I was surprised with A&M's rotation and the bullpen and like the slots where everybody falls in. I mean, I clearly think they're going to be a favorite this weekend. It's not that Oregon can't win, but Oregon is going to need some magic, I think, to make it happen, and maybe even to win one game. We'll have to wait and see.
It's interesting when you have the top of the lineup that A&M does have, or those 3 studs, right? But really, you can take away that the pitching staff, when they're on, has been fantastic. And the way that Ryan Prager will match whoever he's up against, I think is a storyline that isn't talked about enough.
Yeah, and Aschenbeck too. But Prager, we hadn't talked to him until I guess it was the middle of that last game, and we spent an inning with him. And like within 10 seconds, like you enter a room, you start talking to people. Within 10 seconds of talking to him, I'm like, okay, you're the smartest guy in the stadium right now. Just the way he answered our questions and kind of how he went about his business. And we got done talking to him, and our producer, who does a ton of work there in College Station, Alyssa Killebrew-Ho, does a great job. She was like, yeah, that's always one of our favorite interviews. And he's really intelligent, and I think he has a high GPA. We didn't go with the GPA on air, of course, but no, he matches whatever anybody wants to throw his way. And I'm not even sure he had his elite stuff when we saw him, but he was solid. And you just look at the numbers from last year's A&M staff to this year's and the difference Max Weiner has made. He's going to be a head coach in the very near future. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But right now, like the impact is real. And, if A&M makes the College World Series like I anticipate it making, I think he's going to be one of the reasons why. And that'll be a story in Omaha that probably gets broken down on a much deeper level than what we did. But to me, like that's the difference. Like A&M is a national championship title contender right now, not because of his offense, which is elite, which I think is very good and is warming up at the right time. But I think because of Chris Cortez and Evan Aschenbeck and Ryan Prager and, even Rudis and some of these other guys, they've got personality and they've got the production that matches what you would hope to see in a World Series contender.
Roy, let's talk about Jim Schlossnagle for what we do for a living, right? He gives you thoughtful answers. He's such a inspiring person, and he wins, right? Sometimes you get the guy with a good soundbite that isn't a winner. This guy is detail-oriented, a winner, and also just great to us.
He is fantastic along those lines. Maybe more important if you're an Aggie fan watching and listening right now. Maybe more important than all of that, which everybody in the media loves him. He's embraced the portal, and like he's embraced this new era that a lot of old school coaches have failed to embrace. And whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not, that's a big deal. And at a school like A&M where you have resources, you have facilities, and he's talking about building a stadium that's twice the size of Bluebell Park. And, there was that preliminary approval of $80 million where they can get something like that off the ground. The article last week where he's talking about building a monster, like we're seeing that right now. Like it feels like that's what's happening. And he's embraced all of it. So like his goal, they of course they want to win in Omaha this year. And I think they're going to get there, but like his goal is to build the quote unquote monster. And if you're a fan of the Aggies, like that's what you want to hear. And listen, I mean, no offense to our friends in Austin, big fan of both schools, and there's so much tradition and great brand awareness with both programs. But you can look there right now at UT, and they're not doing that at the level that Texas A&M is. That's an issue. So at its core, with what Jim Schlossnagle is all about, he's a great dude, a great human being, but he's adapting, and he's adapting in real time. And there's a lot of coaches around the nation that simply have not been able to do that. So if you're an Aggie fan, you just love all of that. And he's pretty cool. Like we saw him out to dinner Friday, as a matter of fact. We went out to the Republic and our crew was there. The umpiring crew was actually right behind us for a little bit. And we see like the waiter come over and hands them like 8 shots, like these little shots, and there's clear liquid in there. Schloss was across the way on the other side of the restaurant, so we went over to talk to him. Schloss sent them the 8 shots. They were all water. Sent him 8 shots of water just to have some fun. It just speaks to his personality. Like we didn't tell the story on air. I'll tell it now after the fact. It was hilarious. And the umpires just had a great laugh about it afterwards. That's who he is, man. That's who he is. So like you can't. You just can't have a better personality in that spot. And again, he embraces the new world order that we live in. Tough to do. Not that he's old school. He's younger than that. But there's guys younger than him that have not done that. So props to Coach Schloss on all that.
Roy, would you be shocked if 5 teams get to Omaha? There's 5 teams left in the SEC. Would you be surprised if all 5 find their way in?
I mean, Tennessee's got the path, right? Evansville ain't beating that team in Knoxville. Florida at Clemson would be the one. Kevin O'Sullivan is a former Clemson coach. What Florida did at Oklahoma State gives them all the momentum in the world. Clemson's kind of this team, and it's my alma mater, it's where I went to school, but they're a team this year that can be down 6 runs. They can come back and win. They can be ahead by 6 runs. and they can give that lead up. So that would be the one I look at with Clemson being at home and say, all right, can Florida really carry over that mojo? The answer is yes, they could. That first game I'm very anxious to see, but that's the one I look at. Kentucky at home against Oregon State. I'll take the Cats. Georgia, NC State, I would side a little bit with Georgia. That's going to be close and probably go 3. I think at least 3 get in, more than likely 4, a 5th, but it would be a story, and you can't bet against the conference. So, and certainly I think the Aggies are going to get there, as already indicated, against Oregon. At least 3, probably 4, and then the one I'll watch is that Florida-Clemson series. Florida wins game 1, I'm on board. If not, let's see. But Kevin O'Sullivan, a former pitching coach at Clemson there for 10 years, coming back. It's the first time that's happened. That's kind of a juicy storyline there.
I saw this stat on Twitter just a little bit ago. Of the 5 ACC teams that hosted regionals, UVA, UNC, NC State, Clemson, and Florida State, they all advanced and went to the Supers and went a combined 15-1. I don't know if we're talking enough about the ACC.
Well, that's a good point. And here's the other thing. I believe the majority of those teams, with the exception of NC State, a handful of those teams get 3 seeds in their championship. I have to go back. Is it Clemson gets Florida, which doesn't feel like a 3 seed? No, the conference did perform well. I think it was they ended up playing 3 seeds in the in their championship in the regional final is what it was. Now I'm thinking about it. So I would say their path was easier. You'll take it however you can get it. But yeah, it was definitely a good weekend for the ACC. And now the ultimate test. And I love the series that pit the ACC and the SEC. Florida, Clemson, NC State, Georgia. Man, baseball this time of year is always juicy. So we'll see what happens this weekend. It's an exciting time.
Roy, let me close out with a couple of football questions. Mike Elko and Texas A&M. Look, we saw what he did at Duke. We saw what he did here as the defensive coordinator at A&M. We feel here that A&M is close. A lot of people are sick of hearing that same story. All right, every year you're close. Where are you when it comes to A&M?
Yeah, I knew Coach Elko when he was calling defensive ball plays at Wake Forest like a decade ago. And, I was fortunate enough to call the Texas Bowl and had you guys against Oklahoma State. And Mike Elko joined us in the booth for a series. And he was a pro's pro in terms of broadcasting. There's a calmness about him that's just different. And I think that is needed at Kyle Field. Tactically, he knows what the heck he's doing. He knows the right way to talk to donors, to recruits. Again, much like Schloss, like there's this angle to him that there's more than meets the eye in a new era that we live in. And it's a different era now than what it was 2 years ago, or 5 years ago, or 10 years ago. I love some of the personnel that's coming back. Strategically, he's going to handle the teams that he's going to see this year in a better way than what's happened the last couple of years. And that's no knock on the previous regime. It's just how things ended for whatever reason. Elko's a little crisper. He's a little sharper. And he's, I think, going to be very well prepared to win some games, maybe in unconventional fashions. If we get into, the weeds and it's 20-17 and they find a way to do it against a team maybe that they're an underdog against. This is the kind of coach that Aggie fans have been waiting for, whether you realized it or not. This is what has been needed. I hate to use the phrase again, but all the boxes are checked. Like there's not going to be slip ups or weird things happen with a Mike Elko coach team where you just scratch your head and be like, okay, it looks like we're unprepared. It looks like we're not doing what we need to do, just the sheer fundamentals and the basics. He's going to knock all those things out of the park. So instantly A&M becomes a much more difficult out. And with the personnel coming back, like that's right out of the gate this year. The schedule doesn't exactly help you just playing in the SEC, and then Texas comes back on. But there's some people and some experts even saying this week that they feel like A&M's got the edge on Texas by the end of the year. Well, Texas is a team, obviously, that made the college football playoff last year. And now that we go to 12 teams, I think that helps Mike Elko, and that kind of puts you on deck to be able to take that next step. So, no, I agree. I don't want to sound like an A&M homer. That's not what I am. But in terms of football, look, I think the baseball team's going to Omaha. And in terms of football, this was the right hire at the right time. And now give him a little bit of time to go to work, but he ain't going to need it. In a 12-team playoff, would I be shocked if they made it this year? I would not. So, let's turn the page. I think Aggie fans have done that. And let's see how many wins he can stack up this year.
Roy, obviously he's not Schloss with that resume yet, but I feel like the way you spoke about Schloss, you can speak about Elko, where he checks the boxes, he embraces the portal, he embraces the change, something that I felt like Jimbo was a little bit too. He just didn't evolve, and I feel like Elko's evolving, but also keeping with that kind of true grit style of college football.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like, that's the exact way to frame it. And I hate slamming previous regimes and coaches, on their way out the door, and Jimbo's going to be fine. And, he's been doing some Sirius XM work, and I know he's going to get back into the business of coaching sooner rather than later. And whether it's as a coordinator or a head coach, your guess is as good as mine. I don't want to slam him, but you're right. And it's funny. There's some guys that you wouldn't expect that would evolve, and have embraced all of this madness and chaos, and they've got the resources to do it. I would say Elko was that guy, but yeah, I mean, he's done that, and his personality, just in talking with him at the Texas Bowl for that one quarter, you take off the headset and you're like, God almighty, man, this guy gets it. And big things are going to happen. So yeah, I totally agree with that assessment. And he's coaching ball in the SEC. Here's the other thing, and I always say this when I mention Mike Elko and talking about him when I'm asked about him. This is a guy that coached at Duke, and in the season opener last year on Labor Day night, with the eyes of the world watching, he brings in a top 10 Clemson team, a team that still is very talented. It is a lot to deal with. They didn't win a championship the year before, national championship. They won the ACC, but didn't win a national championship, did go to the playoff, but they still were a very tough out. The first game last year, Duke takes Clemson behind the woodshed and wins by 3 touchdowns. That doesn't happen in football. And the second you see that, and it's not fluky, and it's like, God, man, this Duke looked like the faster, more athletic team. You don't have to say anything else. Like, they went on to have a good season with Riley Leonard, and now he's playing ball at Notre Dame. But that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. You beat a team like that by 3 touchdowns when nobody saw that coming, and you're kind of at your zenith and at your pinnacle there. All right, now what are you going to do at A&M, right? You did that at basketball, power Duke. What are you going to do in College Station? The answer is not small things. The answer is nothing. The answer is going to be pretty big.
Roy, amazing stuff, man. Thanks for making time. Let's do it again.
Yeah, anytime. Happy to do it with you guys.
Shortest segment ever. Ha ha. It's time to end the day with Double Dave's. Caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We'll hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. Reading fast. Serving Aggieland since 1984. They have your favorite pizza. They have your favorite world-famous pepperoni rolls. They have reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com and your favorites are on their way. So here's the deal. I'm leaving. I'll be doing the show on the road tomorrow. I don't know where I'm going to be. I'm going to Atlanta. I don't know if I'm going to make it to Atlanta. I might stop before because I get sleepy. But I will do the show tomorrow. I will do the show next week as well from the road. And here's the thing. We'll have Bronny on early because he's got some stuff going on during the morning. So we won't do the baseball bunch completely. We'll do two guys and a baseball show at 9 o'clock. We'll have Bronny at 8:05. We'll have Billy Lucci for the entire 10 o'clock hour. All right. That's going to do it for TexAgs Radio here on a Thursday. My thanks to all of our guests. We had so many today. Thank you very much, guys. We will see you all mañana.